you look at their overall records with these lineups. So, I mean, this is a nice opening battleground, I guess you can say, for these two squads, to see them going toe-to-toe on a map that both are going to be very familiar with. They should both come in fairly comfortable with their compositions and their game plans. It's just going to be all about who's going to be more effective. As both these teams have very similar win rates on both sides of the map. Like, they're kind of in that mid 50% range to the high 50% range on both attack and defense on this map. So that's kind of another little spicy nugget to throw in there, I guess, on how close this contest really could shape out to be.
The last time they met here, it was 9-3 with Envy attacking in that first half. So this is, again, the place to start your momentum. And I had seen kind of around the Valorant sphere that food and crashes for the Envy fans have really been starting to take off and come into form, especially now during the VCT. So those are going to be two big names, that Phoenix, that Sova for Envy, to really get things started. Obviously, we are still on that reverted patch, guys. So this Reyna is going to have a couple extra devours or dismisses. And we're probably, just as we see right here, Dusk, going to see a lot of frenzies and a lot of stingers.
Yeah, Caboose is back to the duelist after having a bit of a period where he was picking up the Omen, but Mummy now going to be back on it. And so everyone's on the agent you would expect when you look over at the Envy side. You look over at the Sentinel side, again, you're not seeing anything too crazy. I feel like Sick has been playing some Phoenix on this map quite a bit lately, and everyone else is pretty much where you would expect as well, as we are going to go ahead and see Envy on the attack. And they ain't wasting any time here, Tanner. They're looking to barrel into this A site with a drone leading the way. But that's a nice little piece of fire there to kind of stall this attack out and build a little bit of time for some rotations.
Yep, and Sick getting aggressive. Paranoias go through. They're going to be traded back. No, it was a Leer to find that stun or that blind, and Blue and Red go back and forth, but Envy find themselves on the back foot now, down to their last. It's all up to Mummy, who, as you noted, now playing that controller in the Omen, also has the spike. So trying to make a play here. Low HP on one. If he could find that kill, makes it then just a 1v1 on that A site, as we see that rotation coming all the way through already from Damper. So nice little split. We'll see what Mummy can get done.
Indeed, we shall. As he has brought the spike up, but I think he has been spotted indeed. So now the element of surprise has certainly withered away. Gonna have to just try to duel his way out of this situation now as he comes up through a heaven. He does find the 1v1 on Zoms, but Zoms' aim is true. And so Sentinels will come up with a good defense here, only losing a couple of players on the round. They shut down that swift attack from Envy. And Envy, they're going to be buying up those stingers. They're going to be looking to fight right away. No conservatism on their part when it comes to economy. They're investing on this, and they're looking to make something of it, as we are seeing a lot of them gathering up here outside of that B lobby area here with a few seconds left before the force fields drop. They do, of course, have a little bit of presence on the A main side with the Cam and the Cypher, but they're certainly looking to take either some mid control through Link or something along those lines.
Ooh, and the force, the stinger. I mean, taking a bite out of that Bulldog up towards Cat Food. Going to kick things off nice and early for us. That Dark going to get some information. Clear out market. Doesn't necessarily mean mid is a safe place, but still leaning that way is Envy. And being a player up, again, this is the reverted patch. So these stingers are so very potent.
Yes, they indeed are, as we are seeing that Sentinels are having to defend against an Envy team who do have some deeper mid control right now. They are certainly threatening that market position. They already have a pick to their name on that quick exchange that was through B-Link to Catwalk. And so, obviously, Sentinels are going to be a bit more stretched thin. They might even have to take some risk as far as just, you know, kind of over-rotating or maybe even eventually thinking to make a push somewhere. So we'll have to just kind of see it. They're trying to stall out A lobby with the smokes of Zoms, while it's still just kind of trying to maintain position. They're not really pivoting too much. They're trying to use this Dapper's Cam as well as those smokes should just kind of stall. But we can see that Envy are now gathering, looking to go ahead and put that cage down and split on this B site.
And just like that, the Leers go out. The site going to be taken. One still on. It is Sinatra holding it down with the Spectre in hand, but the Stingers come out on top once more. And Envy looking to grab themselves a force round after losing the pistol, not going down without a fight in this one. Still retake opportunity, but with these Stingers the way that they are, and you have this attacking side picking them up too. Now FNS finds a kill for himself. Cypher v Cypher, and this feels like a wash here. I'm not too sure what Sentinels can get done off the back end of this, and it looks like maybe play for exit.
Yeah, getting that long-range Stinger kill from B-Link to Catwalk just really opened up the floodgates for Envy to just get that deep mid control early, and then they could just kind of sit on it and squat and really kind of force Sentinels to scramble and do guesswork. You can see that they were trying to get intel where they could, trying to at least, you know, maybe discourage an A attack by kind of refreshing those smokes on the A main area. But once Envy decided to pounce, I mean, they were able to, you know, get that smoke down on back halls, really isolate Sinatra on the speedway and just come in. And that's just so unfortunate. Shazam trying to shut down the drone, getting caught by food. Sinatra gets cleared out, trying to play around that one-way cage on the doorway, and then that's pretty much all she wrote at that point. There was no real way back in. So the force buy from Envy is fruitful. They will go ahead and square things up right away. And we're gonna keep seeing them go toe-to-toe, man. No one's conceding just yet. They're gonna keep on replenishing the buys. Now it's the stingers from Sentinels.
Looks like a quick take over towards B. Clear out. Almost allow. Yes, it is. Okay, Caboose finds a kill onto Dapper. I thought maybe Food would get punished for trying to pick up the alt door, but it's just a bit of damage that will be healed up by the hot hands, and they've since conceded that B main site. Sinatra looking to get aggro, and I believe he's got a stinger in his hand. So, I mean, it really feels like there isn't a better weapon to have in situations like that.
I mean, here's the deal, bro. Both these teams are super explosive in their style. So you're going to see a lot of early round fireworks. And if you blink, you're going to miss a lot of critical situations, it feels, as we're seeing exchanges left, right, and center all across the map. But we are seeing Envy now finally laying some claim to this B site. They already do have their Phoenix locking down position while the Spike tries to swing through B lobby. But there is a chance that it could get cut off. Food's trying to play up close here and deny them a way to stop this Spike from coming in, as it will make its way onto the site now and plant, and Food up close, able to get one, but it's still even at 2-on-2.
One enemy remaining.
Yep, the kill traded right back, but there's Mummy with the Bulldog, a bit more firepower than that Stinger, and it's all up to Sick, who's been very clutch for the Sentinel roster in the past. Stinger in hand is going to play the kill on towards Sidewalk, able to pick that one up onto Finesse, looking for another, but it's Mummy again with the Bulldog, taking a bite out of the Sentinels roster.
Sick had that crosshair placement dead to rights, man. He just couldn't get the round off after landing from a jump. He did well to isolate himself some 1v1s with the wall, but unfortunately doesn't come up with it. You know, Sick can be good for those types of things sometimes, but Envy able to clamp down. That's now 2 in a row. And we're still seeing Sentinels try to go at him, man. We see a couple of more Stingers in play. We do see the Bucky being picked up by Dapper, Frenzy for Sinatra. So while they're not hamstringing themselves economically too much to invest into this, they can still full buy next round for sure. They are putting some weapons out there, and they're going to go ahead and pop the ult on Shazam as well to get them that additional firepower with the blades, but he's caught immediately by Caboose, and that's going to prompt the B-Storm.
A huge takedown there, and the shock dart didn't get a whole lot of value as they were backing away. Caboose in the dismiss was able to dodge out on the damage. Food only taking a little bit, should be able to heal that up. Sinatra trying to flank around the site, but again, Frenzy in hand, and that's not the firepower you want. Sick is here though, and he's making them pay for what they've done to his teammates. Unfortunately, Mummy just continuing the multi-kill ways. Now it's all up to the Zombs Nation. The Stinger can get it done in a 1v4. It is a very tall task as Caboose just goes running through the running gun with the SMG too strong.
Yeah, I mean, in Envy's current form, they're one of the few teams out there that can actually just go man for man with Sentinels and have pretty equal firepower. Don't get me wrong, like, the consistency and the high level that Sick has on average is probably the best we've seen in North America. We know how much of an X-Factor Sinatra can be. We know how good of a jet opera Shazam can be. But some of these guys over on Envy, especially recently, Food and Caboose have been lighting it up. Crash has been lighting it up consistently as well. You got Mummy, who's always been a pretty dang good duelist. So, I mean, like I said, both these teams are very aggressive in how they like to play. Envy in particular doesn't like to default the whole hell of a lot. They like to go for early map control and early skirmishes. So again, you're going to see a lot of fireworks at the beginning of these rounds.
And it doesn't stop here with the run it back. Paranoia goes through, and Sick is still able to find one, and Sinatra is there to back him up. Food finally to trade it back now has a run it back of his own. But Sentinels find themselves a man to the good, and Sick still trying to play aggressive here on the flank.
Yeah. Him having that much aggression on the B lobby is really going to free up Sentinels to start pivoting some of their other resources to help defend this A side. Cage is now on the door, so Dapper knows that he's under threat. He's just needing to delay a little bit longer, and his teammates will start making those rotations. They're already all basically here, and Shazam is going to catch Finesse.
Doesn't spot Food going up top, though. It is a 1-for-1, which leaves it down to the last for Envy. It is Crash. He's one of those players we said we have to keep an eye out for. Able to take down Sick. That's a big one to have off the board, but it is going to be a 1v2 over towards this A side. Now a 1v1, trying to take the fight to Dapper, but Dapper comes out on top.
Indeed. Great job there by Sentinels. It really just came off of that B lobby push where they were able to trade a little bit more effectively and then get that rotation over to A because of the control that they were able to gain off this run it back from Sick. It's a great response from Sentinels to keep that score close, not really allow Envy to build up too much momentum after winning a couple of rounds in a row there after losing the pistol. And so, again, it's going to be a slobber knocker all the way through, Tanner. People better get used to this pace because I don't think Envy are slowing down. Their comp kind of, and their style, you know, you have so much vision blocking between Cabooses leers, Food's flashes. You obviously have the paranoia from Mummy. So they like to just use that to try to, you know, block vision, limit angles, and just get in your face and try to flex that aim that some of these players have. And again, they're just droning up through Catwalk. They're wasting no time looking for early map controls. They're trying to make their way up into tree.
And 3 ultimates used there as a Hunter's Fury. Doesn't find too much there, and that's Caboose down after finding 1 kill. Mummy has since made it onto the site, but isn't necessarily safe. Is able to hang out underneath Heaven, but the rest of the team cannot get on just yet, and Shazam is making sure the door is shut in their face. Sick to trade 1 back with crashes on it as well. And here we go. We find ourselves even across the board, a 2v2 and all the chaos, but Mummy has the angle. He escapes away, but the spike yet to be planted. And who better than Sinatra? No, it's Finesse to close it out.
Oh my goodness, bro. I think I kind of summed it up earlier. If you blink, you're going to miss these rounds, dude, because these guys are wasting no time throwing out some jabs, a couple of hooks, you know. They're like Derek Lewis out here, man. They're looking to drop some uppercuts on your boy Curtis Blades and keep this thing going. If you're not a UFC fan and you don't get that reference, I'm sorry, that one wasn't for you. It's for other people out there. But, I mean, you're going to see a lot of that, bro. Like, it's just going to be action-packed all the way through. Envy, again, they are a very fast-paced team. They don't really like to default a whole hell of a lot. They like to just get out there, and Sentinels, you know, they're no strangers to that type of style themselves, but now they have a little bit less to work with, and by a little bit less, I mean a whole heck of a lot less.
And it was the operator actually picked up and put in the hands of Mummy here, so it's not Stingers. It's gonna be a Ghost, some pistols across the board, not a whole lot like you pointed out, but Sick making the best of this situation, finding that first kill. It's a bit too far to venture out and try and grab that weapon, but having that man advantage definitely helps, and Sick makes it out unscathed.
Great paranoia to bail Sick out of a really tough angle as he's playing inside that smoke. That was basically the insurance policy to make sure he would not get spammed as he tried to cross back. And so Sentinels actually do have man advantage now. Granted, they're still well behind in firepower, but I mean, they're taking a lot of control away from Envy. They were able to get aggressive at A main. They're really still holding the tree position well. I mean, they're actually doing pretty damn good work despite the fact that they don't have a whole lot of firepower to back them. But now we see Envy able to break through. A big exchange in tree gives them access to A site.
And a weapon upgrade there for Dapper. There's also a couple of weapons in that area, so we'll see what Sentinels can pick up here. Food on low HP. Mummy finally going to hit one of those op shots. And Dapper, the last standing. Automatic pistol in hand in a 1v3. It's a pretty tall order. Finds the dink onto Caboose, but it's not going to be enough. And I thought we had ourselves a nice little back and forth, but Envy starting to pull away here, Dust.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weathered round, though, for being honest. Like, some of these rounds have come down to 2v2s, even when Sentinels didn't have full economy. So they haven't really been able to stretch their wings just yet, I guess is my point. Now they have the operator on Shazam. Now they have the full rifles across the board. So this is where we can see them go toe-to-toe a little bit better with Envy when it comes to what resources they have to implement. And they also have 4 ults in play. So, I mean, they definitely have their options open to them. Sick could definitely do a run it back, get aggressive, you know, make a play, and they could play off of that. Or, you know, they could save it for later for a retake. So they have a lot of options open to them right now.
And if I had to put my eggs in an operator basket, it's definitely in Shazam's over Mummy here, as he's 1 for 3 in a landed op shots. We'll see what the Omen can get done in this one as Zombs spots the head over the top of the box. He's going to toss out that smoke, try and delay it. There's a hot hands used as well, so that Molotov not going to be available across the map, and Envy go right back to their defaulted ways.
Indeed, they do. They actually are a little bit halted more often than not. They still have Caboose trying to threaten that B lobby area. They do have Finesse with the cam set up at A main.
Ooh.
And they are just kind of, you know, working it on.
Started talking about cameras, I got excited, but it was actually the camera taken down from Dapper, and there it is. Caboose just didn't seem like he wanted to react there. Mummy's able to trade it back, but a 1 for 1. Still favorable, I believe, on the Sentinel side. You have that ultimate coming on through from Sick. Not going to find too much. They're out towards mid, so they're storming onto the site, and only 25 seconds left on the clock as that neural theft gets used. They spot Sick on the flank, and now it's red all across the kill feed. Sinatra, the last man standing, has full HP, and he just has to delay. He has to find the spike carrier and stay alive. Instead, he will find Crashies. The spike now looking to get planted. It will go down. It's a 1v2, and once more, unscathed is Sinatra here as he looks to take the site. The op shot gonna go wide, a shock dart in hand, a recon bolt just behind it. Now available as Food looks to get aggressive. Sinatra's gonna eventually have to push, and Mummy is going to stop it. The operator 3K. That was a very big round for the op here for Envy.
Yeah, this is just a big round in general for Envy, right? I mean, you finally are going to see Sentinels fully equipped, and so that's kind of a statement round, right? To kind of just continue to hold Sentinels off and continue to kind of build your own winning streak here. And even with Shazam finding that early opening pick, Mummy was so quick to respond. They're able to catch these rotations and cut them off and just kind of just snowball the round at that point. And again, big round because this forces Sentinels back onto low economy, and now we've seen Envy win 6 of the last 7, even when some of the rounds are close. Close doesn't count anymore. Envy are building up a massive lead right now. Shazam has spotted the B lobby attack, and somehow while Leard hits the headshot on the Food.
The ball doesn't lie. Shazam went up top and didn't get a kill through B main, but still ended up finding one through the Lear, as you pointed out. But Caboose on the flank will take the knives out of the equation, but we still find ourselves in an equal situation only for a moment. But Mummy is on the A site. Operator in hand, does not have a weapon upgrade here. Will now have a weapon to swap from. In the 1v1 we go, and Envy are not giving up control here, and it's up to Dapper. Atlas Cypher gets legged on the way in, but finds Mummy on his way out. It's 5 HP to the good, and Sentinels back in the win column.
Man, even as what I consider to be a neutral person in this exchange, you know, I'm just here for good Valorant. I actually feel for Mummy there because I feel like he was actually doing some big things, and his crosshair was just a little too low, hits him in the thigh. He almost got himself the clutch again, and that would have been so money considering how well Sentinel started the round. For Caboose and Mummy to reel it back in, for Mummy to be posting up like this for something big, and just hits him in the knees. Just puts it right through those patellas. And unfortunately, there's going to be some health to spare, and so it will go the way of Sentinels. They've found a few rounds here and there. They've all been on an island. They have yet to be able to really get something going. Will that change is now going to be the question.
As an operator down now as rifles across the board for Envy. So a nice pickup there. Sentinels don't have to invest the 5,000 credits. They're able to just pick that one up and toss it on over to Shazam. But just as I said earlier, I'm putting all my eggs in the Shazam basket with the operator because Mummy was underperforming, it seemed, the first time he had it. He makes me eat my words, and he comes back huge. Now it's Shazam's moment. He's due, as you would usually say in the sports world, for a couple of kills with that operator. Not just going one and done. His Food backs away. Small exchange over towards Catwalk, and Sick, not the target he was looking for, but he still finds one, and Food just has no way to respond. Can't retaliate there on that kill. Instead, it is going to be that Empress popped in a play over towards B once more. Hunter Shuri looking to close things out. Shazam playing the op angle up into market with the operator, but Crashy still finds a kill, and the Shrouded Step is in the worst possible spot for Mummy. Now Sentinel's looking to find another.
Dude, there's no worse feeling as an Omen when you go ahead and take the Shrouded Step and there's no cancel and you're just like, oh, great. Like, I've just put myself in the worst place ever, and you just have to sit there and wait for it to happen. And unfortunately for him, he was indeed caught. Shazam teeing off here. Now it's up to Food, really, to make a play. He might find the timing. I don't know that Shazam knows he got to that corner, but he's able to flick anyway. No problem for Shazam. And that's going to leave Crash. He's very, very lonely. And even though, you know, he's got a drone and such that he can kind of use to keep company, it's not going to amount to much in this situation. He's going to have to kind of just chill in the corner. And that's finally Sentinels building a couple of rounds in a row. Decent attack from Indy, obviously using the Hunter's Tree to limit some angles, getting Caboose out there with the Lear and the Empress, but Shazam was able to bob and weave around a lot of this utility and just keep posting up with the operator and just keep swinging back. And that's an unfortunate teleport from me, dude. I don't know what he was thinking, honestly. That's kind of an easy one for Shazam. I don't know if they thought they had Shazam pushed off market to where he could do that or what, but that wasn't it. He's had a hell of a game, though, so we'll give him that one. It happens.
Yep, and that's it. He was due. Finds a nice little 3K and went hunting there at the end. Unfortunately, wasn't able to take that one rifle away. Now, again, playing out towards mid. Market area is going to get tagged up here. They know that operator is there. Drone taken down, and Shazam will look to reposition. Sick. Taking this aggressive posture up towards Catwalk, and it's worked.
He's done it a lot, yeah.
Yes, so many times it's worked out for him, so he does have to back away for a moment. Flash.
Oh my goodness, though, dude. Envy are so deep. Shazam has no idea Fu could blindside him, but no, he's just going to play it a little bit longer. He's going to sneak in behind enemy lines. Envy, with that drone chase, have done so well to get deep into the territory of Sentinel. Shazam was able to get a kill, though, keep it even, and now he's got a read of the situation, and he's striking back.
He is not done with that op just yet. They give up the mid control. He finds Caboose, the second member to lurk. Now it's all up to Mummy in a 1v2 with 21 health against a rifle and an operator. And it looks like Shazam may have even swapped out there just to take this fight. Mummy, you had a super sick play. You almost pulled it off in the last one. This one feels a whole lot less doable. No ultimate available. Does have the spike in hand, but running out of time. Be able to get that plant down at the very least, but at that point I think you just get pinched from all angles. You see Shazam pushing on through. Ooh, he actually hears the footsteps. They stop the plant, and Sinatra from up top will get him in the back. Sentinels, I mean, already adjusting from the last time they played Envy on Ascent here.
I have to credit them so much because that got so scary when the drone pushed Shazam off the angle, and it allowed them to get up into market control so fast, and they're even getting into back halls, and I thought that they were going to be able to just bust Sentinel's defense wide open, but then Shazam was able to catch on to it, gets a couple of big operator shots, and that really is what sealed the deal for Sentinels to get their third round in a row, and it wouldn't be a game of Ascent without some Sinatra Odin action, would it, Tanner?
No, and they know exactly how Envy want to play it. The playthrough B had been working, and it was a fast one to get it done. This time, not going to be the same result. Dapper finds that kill. Taking a second one, finally traded out, and the operator now goes down as Finesse with the stinger. That gun just too strong. On the last round of the half, we find ourselves in a 3v3, making a 2v3. The Odin still popping off, but Sinatra forced to reload. I would imagine he looks to swap weapons, but with ultimates available, we see Mummy again trying to make his leave. No, he just went back towards the spawn. I don't know what the play was, but either way, Dust, we are 6-6 at the half, and Envy are gonna be past the ending of that last round. It was a little questionable.
Mummy, listen, buddy. That alt wasn't it. That wasn't it, bud. But he's got 16 kills, so like, what? Well, you know, he's having a hell of a game. You know, so he you know what? I'm gonna give him a couple of passes because when he did have some big moments, bro, and he almost had a massive clutch if he would have aimed his crosshair like an inch higher. So I mean, like I said, we'll let it rest. But you know,
yeah,
that one made me scratch. That was a head scratcher. It's okay though. We're all even.
I thought huge brain play again. The Omen over towards the A site. We just saw Mummy do it a few rounds ago, and I was sadly mistaken when I saw him get shot down by the two that were playing out towards the defender spawn. Now we have Envy on the defending side, and it's a very slow push up towards B main here for Sentinels, and I don't think they spot a whole lot out, and it's actually going to force them right back to the defaulted ways.
Yeah, they just wanted to fight for that orb control early inside B lobby. Sentinels love to fight for orbs on both sides of the map simultaneously at times even, but this time they just went ahead for the full focus on B. They're going to go ahead and get into the site. We're going to see Envy having to play for a bit more of a retake at this point. Sick trying to play inside the smoke here on the stairs. We're seeing the defense rotate. They're going to be coming from all angles. They have a player from Market, a player from B lobby, and the rest coming through back halls, and everyone from Sentinels is inside the site. Like, this is going to be so chaotic, man.
And not the most advantageous post-plant position here for Sentinels as they are all corralled, but they're going to have their corners. You see real close here. Caboose will be one. It's actually going to be Sick taken down, and Envy just start to find the kills. It's all up to Shazam. Full HP and just has to buy a bit of time, but can't do that at the least. It was damaging, Dust. Down to the last two, but Envy pick up a pistol.
Yeah, that was interesting. When you're just all on the site like that, it's in a different corner each. You're just all, they were trying to, have the hot hands from Sick kind of block off that stairs angle and maybe, at least force damage. But when you have like Envy attacking from all fronts at the same time, you got Leers popping off inside the site. It's so hard to defend against that onslaught at that point. It just comes down to like who wins their aim fights. There's not a whole lot of calculation or tactics going on those moments. It's just about brawling, and obviously we saw that Envy were able to be a bit better there and get that defuse on the retake, and so they are going to take the slight lead as we head to another one of those full-on SMG rounds. We do see some pressure being applied here at A lobby from Sentinels. Again, they are going to be pretty similar to Envy on wanting to attack fast, but sometimes they can slow down the tempo a bit and kind of just allow players like Sick and Sinatra to have some freedom to try to make plays or do something individual, but they're still very scrappy. The pacing is going to stay up, put it that way. The tempo not coming down.
Quick onto the A site here. Spike closely behind. Should be planted down here in the next few moments. Finesse up top in heaven. Here's this one. Has the upgraded SMG in the Spectre. Just about everybody else sitting on these Stingers, which kind of makes this round a coin flip. Going back and forth, full armors and Stingers for both teams. Some information given out. Shazam going to be spotted out over towards Switch. Doesn't have the angle just yet. Now Mummy's able to find it, but they double swing and they trade the kill, but they're traded right back. But on the flank, Dapper still alive, still very healthy. Now cuts it down to a 2v2 situation, and it's all up to Sinatra. The hot hands going to push him away. Food looking to stick the defuse, and Sinatra just goes right through. The shock darts not in time. And who better than Finesse to find a 3K in another NB round?
Yeah, really well done. They've won the force buy, so now Sentinels have to take a bit of a step back, and this is where Envy can mash the gas pedal. They should be able to jump up to a 9th round here. There shouldn't be a whole lot Sentinels can do about it, as they will be indeed on just upgraded pistols at best. SMGs will continue to float here for Envy, of course. And so, shouldn't see too much here. Sinatra did get a stinger, and now Zoms picks up a stinger. Okay, now they're deciding to go ahead and go in. All right, then. And fair enough. They're going to hit max loss bonus next round. They would still be able to get a pretty good buy. So, I don't blame them for this one at all.
And those Stingers, they add that X factor to your arsenal. Unfortunately, not going to find too much here. Only one kill. It was Shazam with the Sheriff in hand. The force buy, although you're getting that max loss bonus, it delays the operator should Shazam want it later in this attacking half. So that is definitely feels bad, man. Just as that is a little bit of help from his trusty shock darts as Sinatra finds a kill onto Caboose.
Yeah, Caboose was trying to get that Phantom out of there. He really did not want that going over to enemy hands, but unfortunately it cost him his life. And that actually evened up the odds because there was a big advantage there for Envy. They did a great job aggressing A lobby and winning the exchange and denying that access to Sentinels on that side of the map. But now you've opened the door back with a play like that, giving Sinatra a kill and a Phantom. Finesse, though, he was maybe the one that could put a stop to it, but he's been found out, and now Sentinels are going to collapse onto this B site. There's only one defender here that's going to be Crashies, and while he's a damn good player, this is an overwhelming wave of players coming his direction. He's going to have to pop off here, but he limits a nice 1v1.
Last player standing.
There's this Nama, and help is so far away. Mummy rotating all the way from A through mid. We'll have a stinger. Obviously, Sinatra getting that weapon upgrade and a recon bolt. Not going to grab that information, so maybe thinking nobody is coming from this B main area. Sinatra still postured up, though, to watch that sidewalk. We've got Zoms hanging out. Make sure nobody comes downstairs for free. This is a very tough place to be, but full utility here. He goes through, able to find one, tries to swap to the sidearm, but Zoms comes out on top, takes the imposter down and inches closer to a tie game.
Yeah, that's a big one to win if you're Sentinels. And if you're Envy, you're probably kicking yourself a little bit because, again, they had such a good opening exchange on this aggression, and then Caboose just did not get away. Finesse gets caught behind enemy lines. And then all of a sudden, Sentinels on the force buy, or maybe not a full force, but, you know, they put something into that, and they actually come up with it and keep the score close. And, man, I really felt like that was looking like it was going to go the other direction for the bulk of the round.
And now Sentinels understand where Envy are at when it comes to their arsenal, so they're looking to take the fight right to them, which could pay off in dividends. Unfortunately, Bucky not going to get too much at close range at Sinatra with that upgrade advantage from the last round. And the Stinger's not going to find the kill just yet. Finally, it's a right click from Caboose to sit Sinatra down, but only after he's found 2 kills. And the rest of Envy look to fall down around him. The spike not even picked up yet here. Sentinel's just looking for the kills to close it out.
Yeah, not too much to say about that one if we're being 100% honest with you. I mean, I don't think I really need to add too many tidbits to that. Sentinels just clearly sinking their teeth into it. They are going to tie this game up at 8 apiece. And they're probably looking to take the nod. I mean, Envy, I feel like economically are in some trouble. That's a clean round from Sentinels. They don't really lose too much at all. Just one player goes down, so they're able to roll weapons forward, no problem. And while Envy can buy here, yes, look at the repercussions. They have no funds left, and if they take the loss, Sentinels will basically jump up to 10 for free. They have the ult economy in their favor as well, with 4 players already on ult and Zombs 1 away. Now, granted, Envy aren't too far behind. They have 3 ults, a couple players very close as well. But you are starting to see that shift in momentum, it feels. Like Envy looked so hot at different points in time in that first half, and now Sentinels seem to be really responding.
And now we got the Hunter's Fury coming out, trying to find something to run it back to get some info onto Finesse, who backs away and sends the Phoenix back from whence he came. Food gonna trade it back with his own to run it back. A flash out. He spots one in the corner and just can't find the kills. And now in a pretty bad spot as he once more and back towards the ultimate, losing that armor. Sentinels down a player. Not the end of the world. Is Crashy actually going to make it 2 players? Shazam's only able to get 1 back. The A site has been taken, but as the rest of the team starts to get on, Caboose, the bouncer at the door. Shazam isn't done just yet, as he's down to the last. It's 35 health on the Jet. He's able to find 1, not the ace. It's Mummy to close it out, and that round's making me sweat there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those rounds where you just don't know where you're headed. You're just kind of along for the ride, and you're just trying to keep up as best you can. But again, that's what happens when you have 2 teams like this who are very explosive in how they like to play the game. They like to thrive in the chaos. They like to go out there and take those scrappy battles. And really, you're just kind of waiting to see, all right, who's going to win their duels? And in that particular situation, Envy came up big, and they needed to, because, again, their economy was so low, and now both economies are fragile. Both teams could be looking for a save if they lose this round. So this is such an important round for Sentinels to take lead back, or for Envy to start steaming back ahead towards the finish line, as they've done really throughout the majority of this game, as we see Crashies popping the Hunter's Fury early here defensively, trying to get a tag off or something through that A main route, as they were pushed off the doorway by this angle from Sinatra. As the spike is certainly pivoting that direction, they are going to go ahead and grab Orb on the stick. They're trying to build up his run it back as soon as possible to have it again for future rounds. And they're being halted here. That cage is going to once again slow down progress. But both defenders are playing off-site, so there is still a way for Sentinels to break in and force Envy to play the retake. But Shazam going to miss that entry. Gets away with his life, but it's getting tough.
And I'm not sure if they spotted out Finesse here. So even if they pick up that kill tree, trying to cross onto the site, things could be a bit dicey. Now Crash's ascent moved on over, and the switch is going to be hit, and they're able to trade a kill back and forth. Finesse able to sneak out and find that one onto Dapper just narrowly. Now Crashes is forced to back away. And as you mentioned, the economy not in a great spot. So at the very least, you don't want everybody dying here, even if you are that winning squad. And Envy looking to make sure it's not them. Sentinels down to their last. Zombs Nation with the door broken down, needs to stop the defuse, but the spike is in such an awkward spot. There might just be no real way in. He's able to find 2, almost 3 on the way out, but Envy will net themselves around. And the inverse of what we thought we might see, it's Envy reaching double digits first.
Indeed, they are. And there is still money available here for Sentinels, but you're basically putting yourself on a tough track if you invest all the way into this one and it doesn't work out. So you can see that, yeah, I mean, they're going to go ahead and keep piling on here. I mean, they are approaching max loss bonus in the next round anyway. So it would be a tough buy next round, though, if this doesn't work. And they're having to go at Stingers in this round on top of it, so they can't even really put their best foot forward. Now, don't get me wrong. The way that they play, the way they like to close distance, they could get those Stingers in the faces of their opponent and still be, you know, very effective. But, again, if this does not work, they're force buying the rest of the game, really. And that would put them on such a bad route, I feel like.
And the one notable thing in the composition shift that we have, right, it's a Reyna and a Jet. And I was kind of thinking, you have to win gunfights if you're Envy, which feels, you know, again, not necessarily coin flippy, but it's hard to do. You need to have a rifle or I guess a stinger in order to use a Reyna ult or a Phoenix ult, whereas Shazam does have these knives in these rounds that could kind of turn the tide. So when the economy is bad, Sentinels do have that going for them. It is interesting that they choose to pop it here, though. I think it was 3 Stingers and 2 Phantoms. So some of the team was actually able to purchase up and dash in the last 3 knives remaining. We'll find the reset there onto Finesse, but it's going to be traded back almost immediately with the 3 ultimates still remaining. A run it back available for Sick. They've been feeding this guy ult orbs, and now he's finally going to start to use it. They look to storm onto the site, but it's a paranoia.
30 seconds.
Natra going to bide his time, not go for the first. Finally, that ult is going to be sent right back, but Envy pick up a couple of kills. And the Neural Theft going to give out some information. Not the spray down, though. He queued up a curveball instead, so Sick couldn't find anything there. And Food will actually find him waiting inside the smoke. Now with the spike planted, again, the economy, things looking incredibly dire. Dapper needs to come up huge here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough as well. He's stuck in the back of the site. He did kind of bob and weave around the drone, however, so he's able to kind of blindside Food, who was not ready for that. And now he's still taking some chip shots here and there. He's still hanging on, but now the defense is going to split 2 routes at once. Dapper trying to dance around and find 1v1s as best he can, but they do get inside the site behind the boxes, not allowing him a chance to break the aim loose. Envy will collect, and they will put up an 11th round. And now Sentinels, yes, they did get the spike plant. Yes, they are on max loss bonus, but they're going to have to make some wise choices on how they spin here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously abilities carry over, so whatever they didn't use in that round is still going to be there, and they could still probably put out a rifle and an armor, but again, like, you have to be a little bit picky and choosy now. Like, you don't have just free reign anymore, and on top of that, you have a hot Envy team who are really putting the rounds together. And so it looks like they will be able to get the full buy, but it's going to mean that Shazam has to go without an operator. That's a big tool off the board.
Take flight.
Into light armors to come through. It's down. It's bare minimum for credits as well. So that next round, surely, if Sentinels lose this one on match point, they're probably going to find themselves on Stingers. Yeah, it's going to be in a tough spot. Now we see a bit of mid posture, though. This is one of the first times we're seeing Sentinels put a little bit of pressure towards mid here, that market area, and there's nothing to really stop them. Both trap wires over towards B, the cam also that way, so yeah, unless they spot them out here, this could just be a free push and a nice flank.
Yeah, Sentinels are doing great here to get this deep mid control. They've already blown the door open on market as well. No, Envy, that was kind of calculated, right? That's why they shut the door. They knew that mid was being taken. They knew that market was going to be under siege, so they will now spin the drone. Trashies will only spot 1. Meanwhile, the spike is still sitting outside A lobby here on 6. So it looks like they want to maybe kind of fake some mid control, threaten the B split, maybe pull a rotation, and then they really want to actually get up onto Catwalk into Tree and split this A site. Now, with all that said, even with all the mid pressure they've put on, Envy's not biting. They still have 3 players on the A site, 2 towards A heaven, 1 on the floor itself. And Sentinels are going to be looking to split their way in here. They're taking Tree. Caboose has the angle and spots them.
No kill, but has the information that they're looking to storm on. That's Food using that run it back and able to find a kill. So goes good for 1, and Caboose still in an awkward angle inside the smoke. They're trying to spray him down. Dapper able to find a kill, but Caboose gonna trade it right back and forth we go on this A site. It's the massacre on A site. And now it's down to not Dapper this time, but the opposing Cypher in a 1v2. Has to find a way in and defuse this spike. Has the Neural Theft available, but Envy also have some rounds to play with, so it's not the end of the world if this doesn't go their way. Nice hot hand's gonna force him on out, and he doesn't have the time to keep on scooting through, and Zombs will be able to walk away this one, last one alive for Sentinels.
That's a big round from Sentinels, and again, I kind of fear for them because even though they were getting that mid control, I feel like their goal with that was to try to force Envy to respect defending spawn, to respect the B split, and kind of lighten the load on what A defense was going to be available to put a stop to their split that they went for there. And in fact, Envy kind of held their ground. You know, Caboose was able to spot the cross through door pretty early. They had people in place, but Sentinels were actually able to win some really big battles towards that A heaven space. And if you're not able to maintain that it's so hard to set up a retake at that point, and the numbers just get dwindled. And now Sentinels all of a sudden are putting that pressure right back on Envy. We're seeing Sinatra dancing around a smoke here. He's able to get one and clear out the winery, and so Sentinels actually have an advantage, and they're starting to get on Envy's heels. Oh no, he didn't check.
And it looked like Zombs was queuing up a smoke at the time, so that would have been a free kill. Good, he had peeked over to his left. Unfortunately, Food doesn't do that, and Envy find themselves on the back foot once more. Crashies very low. Hunter Shuri in his back pocket. I would imagine he opts into hanging onto that and now just getting corralled from the front, from the back, on the site. Nowhere to go. Sinatra with the backstab. Sentinels, they start to close the gap here, Dust. Things are getting spicy.
They are. There was a big reset to Envy's economy there, and so they couldn't really put anything into that one. Trying to play up close and make something happen, but everything got caught. Every little gimmick that Envy were trying to throw out there was going to be checked by Sentinels, and so that is going to be the scoreboard drawing ever closer. No operators on the field in this round. Envy's economy also, you know, getting vulnerable, but they do have max loss bonus, so they take an L here. We just got to focus on each and every round at this point. So tight right now on the scoreboard, so much at stake, with a master spot available at the end of the finish line for the series. And inside of the smoke at middle, where things can always get risky, is going to be the kill going the way of Envy.
The response going to be a run it back up to Catwalk. Does get tagged out, and Six is trying to find it. Every kid, he's actually able to find a kill with the blink in his face there, and a Hunter's Fury gets so much from Crashies. The health bar for Sentinels, everybody hurting on this squad, and that is the result of the Hunter's Fury tag.
Yeah, he tagged 3 different players with that between all the shots, so that was a lot of value. Even if he didn't get a kill, he definitely chipped away at Sentinel's bank here, and now we're seeing some, again, just these weird exchanges around smokes where both teams are willing to take some risk. And so far, it looks like Envy are coming out on top, as you're going to see Finesse swinging up through Cat. He finds Stick, and he does not overextend. He gets out. He's happy with what he has gained, as he has put Sinatra in such a tough spot here. All by his lonesome. He does have Spike. That's about the only thing going for him, though.
He's about to run right into Mummy here, who has been pretty much the top frag for the entire game here. Able to find another, add another to that kill count, and that right there, Dust, that is why it's not all about kills, guys. Even in your solo queue games, you take a peek at those assists. Crashies on 14 of them, and 3 or 4 came from that round, which is one of the biggest to push Envy to map point.
Yeah, I mean, getting that many tags just gives you so much information, and it also, again, chunks away and softens up targets for later on down the line with no ability to really heal on any of the Sentinels members, except for Sick being able to heal himself with Hot Hand. So that is such a big round for Envy, and now they are 1 away from taking a sit and going a map up in the series. We are going to see Sentinels trying to get some quick mid-control. Drone is going to spot this, of course. So Envy has some ideas. They're also looking to contest as well. They're getting aggressive on the catwalk, and they're actually going to find the pick on Shazam, who got stuck in awkward space, tried to dash out, but could not escape.
Crashy's able to convert on not just the tag this time around, but a kill coming his way. The spike yet to be picked up, but it is going to be Sinatra rotating all the way back, and I mean, you see it's basically a 4-point stance across the board for Sentinels trying to find a way in. This is the do or die round here on Ascent. And the information already spotted out towards that B main area. Sinatra trying to grab some info over towards Tree. I don't feel like there's really any way in.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough on them. They're a man down. There's plenty of defense in place covering all fronts. The rotation's even starting to drift a little bit here from Crash as he's more tucked towards back hall, so even he wouldn't take long to get here. They've been spotted by the Omen on site. That's going to be Mummy. Hunter's Fury is going to use that info to try to get a pick, and it indeed will, but Food also found his man, and Caboose still has this close angle with Empress on tree position, and he finds his man as well. This is looking dire for Sentinels.
We're able to close out the tag that Sinatra found on Food, but as you said, the Empress is on a 3v2. Sentinels in a dire situation. That shock dart just gonna miss on out because of where that spike was being planted. Crash is trying to do everything they can, and the cherry on top for Envy here. The neural theft spotting them both corralled. The recon bolt gonna give some info, but the neural theft comes out on top. They close it out, and Envy once more in this series against Sentinels will find a win on Ascent.
Indeed, they do. Again, we've been seeing it throughout their run in these qualifiers and in the main event here at Challengers 2. They have been dismantling everyone in front of them lately. They are not allowing their opponents many rounds even coming into this.
The compositions break down, and this is the comp for Sentinels that had worked in the last two. This comp right here, it righted the wrongs of the two losses they had against Luminosity and Immortals. They put Sinatra on that Reyna, and he's the peacock. You gotta let him fly, and that's exactly what he gets to do on that Reyna.
Exactly, and then Dapper coming on the stage is interesting. That's obviously an an agent that Sick was super strong on and played a ton. But Sick's been playing the Sova to free up Sinatra to get on some of the duelists and give them a little bit of that entry power that maybe he doesn't feel as comfortable implementing himself, as Sick is kind of that utility knife for this team, just kind of doing whatever they need as far as roles go. And then when you look over at the defending side, other than Finesse swapping over to Killjoy, everything else feels pretty at home, as again Caboose has certainly played his fair share of Raze, and again he is certainly been leaning into that duelist role again, so there's not a whole lot of curveballs when it comes to the Envy side of things for composition.
Right here.
And I'm trying to remember, on Icebox, was it Envy that just went X amount of times? I think that was like the first time.
You just described North American Valorant.
Okay,
so
true. That is very true. But it does seem like it's evolved quite a bit for Envy since then. This time, though, starting off on the defense, it's 5 members all stacked up here right inside the smoke, but a nice Sage wall to keep them safe even in these close quarters. It'll allow the plant, but on the flank, here comes Envy. Food from the back is able to find 2. Mummy grabs another, and it's all down to the last here. Sick has been so good in the past, but it's hard to do with only 13 rounds in the mag. And Caboose with a bit of friendly fire to close it out, but either way, Envy grabbed the pistol.
I mean, they could afford it in that situation. They were up 4-1, so I mean, if you're gonna give a love tap to a teammate to catch their attention, I guess that was the moment to do so. Great retake there from Envy. But yeah, I feel like Icebox is still very much like a set piece simulator. Like, it's very much about like picking a site and just executing it. Just because of the construction. We have seen a couple of teams experiment more with like mid control and threatening tube. I think Gen G is probably the one that really comes to mind, that was kind of showing me during the open qualifier that there was some tricks still that attacking teams could be trying to explore on this map in the North American region. But more often than not, people are just hammering away at sites. And this round, not going to be much different, is it?
Seems to be the same here again. Sentinels 5 stacked up. They do have one hanging out on the flank this time. It looks like Sick gonna make sure Food doesn't have the same round that he had previously, and it is gonna be Stingers against Stingers across the board. So the Stinger showdown. Yeah, peeks out to 3 and just needs to get out of dodge. Now Crashies up top has the high ground, is able to back away and get a bit of information, but nobody pushed onto the site just yet. They actually might take the fight right to the flankers, and they're going to do just that. But Finesse with the turret in tow, able to grab that kill onto Dapper. Try to stop the rotations, but here we go. Sentinels, they're trying to creep on over to B, and now it's a 2v2, but both teams beating feet towards that site.
Yeah, that was an interesting process because Envy's flank got spotted and so many members were committed to it. To get it found out that early, it made them kind of reconsider. Sentinels were trying to battle them, and we saw a lot of exchanges kind of take place in that middle area, leaving us into this 2-on-2 where the spike is indeed trying to transition over towards the B side, but Envy, they're challenging right away. It's getting dodgy here, but Mummy wins a big fight against Zombs, and Sick is so low on health now that he's in a lot of trouble. Too many angles to cover at once, and Envy will collect the benefit. They will now be up 2-0. They are getting real good control here. Not a lot of credits to spend for Sentinels. So likely a 3rd round in a row here coming from the Envy side. and they're already on map to the good as well. And again, just to add a little bit of context to this, Envy have never beaten Sentinels in a best of 3 or best of 5. They have only taken maybe 2 or 3 maps off of Sentinels out of the 17 or 18 that they played against each other. The head-to-head could not be more in favor of Sentinels when it comes to statistics. But if Envy were able to pull it off here and now with so much at stake, what a story that would be, and at least start taking those first steps in that direction.
And I think it would kind of piggyback off of all of the action we've seen thus far in the Valorant scene in North America, that the gap is closing between all of these teams and adjustments are being made. My first initial thoughts when I saw this matchup is Sentinels win 8 out of their last 10, and their 2 losses, they righted those wrongs in beating LGs and Immortals to eventually win Challengers 1. Envy on a 6-game winning streak. They haven't been playing the most top-tier teams. You know, they did just beat XSET, and they were upset by XSET, so you can see that the cogs are turning and they're making changes. But I think the gap is really starting to close here, as there's no longer a gap towards B. It's everybody headed over towards A, so Sentinel's playing the mind games.
Yeah, just to tag on to that, like with XSET and Luminosity kind of busting through, the parity era has begun in North America. Until things start to settle back down, we have so many teams that seem to be very competitive at this point in time. But maybe with some patches and some other adjustments, you know, we'll see things change. But the wall gets put down as Sentinels are just trying to force a plant onto the site, which they will succeed at doing. So they'll get that economy in play. But now here comes the superior firepower of Envy on the retake.
The run it back going to be used as well, so Envy not looking to give up anything here in this one, as Caboose is first to find kill on the site. Zom's going to trade one back, so trying to hurt the economy the best they can. Dapper on the board as well, and once more we're in a 2v2 Sentinels against all odds, trying to get it done, and with those kills, Sick has the Hunter's Fury. A nice flash out. Dapper going to be playing close quarters. There's the Hunter's Fury. The first shot going to go on through. Not going to find too much there, and I believe it should just be the stick. No, actually going to die, and they're so far away. I don't know if Finesse has the time.
No, he doesn't.
Play.
He was trying to come in and catch Sick while he was still popping the Hunter's Fury shot so he could get the kill and backtrack. But he was able to get the kill before Finesse could complete the distance closing. And so Sentinels sneak one by with very little behind it. That is a surprising victory. I thought, yeah, sure, Sentinels, they use the wall, they get the spike plant, fine. But Envy already had a pretty quick pick through screens. They were up 5-4. They had the superior weaponry, and I thought, okay, this should be all she wrote. But Sentinels somehow, off the back of that ult there from Sick, get that victory, and they get one way earlier than Envy were probably expecting.
And that damages this Envy economy. You saw, I think, one rifle, the rest stingers here. Nice pickup in that. Caboose gonna swing on out. That's the rifle down, and the rifles for Sentinel starting to come out on top. They want to tie things up here on this attacking side. Food will get corralled back towards this yellow box. Tosses out a flash. Is going to get the blind, but now maybe needs to try and get himself to safety. It looks like he just wants to take the fight right to him. If he's going to go out, it's on the sword, on his shield. Crash is able to get one back, but Sentinels just so oppressive there up towards B-Long.
Yeah, that's the great thing about adding Sage to their composition on this map, is not only do you get the smokes of Omen to block angles, but then you also get Sage's wall to lock down zones as well, and it makes it a lot harder for defenders to retake. You're having to break that, you know, it's just kind of creating new routes. Kind of similar to what you'll see a Sage do on Split when she puts that wall down on the B side. You can do very similar things here to Icebox, because they have similar things when it comes to like construction, with just like so many structures and tight angles. Like you can really use those abilities to your benefit to do some great things. And now we are going to see once again Sentinels looking to attack into long B, and Finesse is in for some trouble, and he doesn't even get away.
Doesn't get away. Sinatra just running and gunning, takes him down over towards the B side, and that opens things up once more. So this quicker play style out towards B starting to pay off in favor of Sentinels, as once more that Sage Wall going to be used. Caboose able to find a kill this time, not on a teammate with the paint shells. It is going to be Sick to fall, and crashes on the flank, but it's been sniffed out. Zoms able to trade that kill right back, and it is an eco buy, but we've seen how the ecos sometimes go in this series. Caboose jumps on through, nice paranoia, able to net one kill, and Mummy just trying to stick to defuse, but it's the firing squad to shut him down. Sentinels now grab themselves a lead, and just every ultimate available.
Yeah, I mean, again, neither of these teams are going to waste too much time instilling their will on each other. Again, we've talked about this already, how aggressive these two teams can be, how scrappy they can be. And so when Sentinels get that opening pick, there was never a question about what the next step on the checklist was. It was time to pounce. And Shazam's been very public about this because, you know, Reyna has just been wreaking havoc. They were like, all right, we're going to start doing that too. We got some pretty skilled players that can make things happen. And they want to just build off that pace that you know, that Reyna can create. You know, she's not always getting kills. Definitely can still create so much space. And now they're going to be pivoting their focus to the other side.
And we could very well see a back and forth. Unfortunately for Envy, Sight might just be taking a nice kill early. That's the Reyna finding kills. And I mean, it doesn't get any more unfortunate than that as the showstopper goes completely useless. Not going to find too much. It's the ult over towards B. And just like I pointed out, we might see that
big miss.
Totter back and forth. But Mummy puts himself in a bad spot. The operator in hand, and he just has not been finding the shots. But a nice sage wall towards mid. It doesn't offer a whole lot in Sentinels. Again, trying to take B.
Oh, this is interesting. Envy are thinking that maybe Sentinels have actually backed off because they haven't been feeling any pressure lately over on this B side. So they're actually putting recon inside A site and even pivoting back to defending side. And this is where Sentinels decide to go ahead and gather up and restrike onto B site. Hunter's Fury getting popped by Crashies to try to deny some access here and slow them down a bit so they can get their players back in position, which they have done. The defense is back in place, but they still are a man behind. But that shot has equalized things, and time is getting low. And Envy are pushing in as Sentinels are forced to put the spike down, and they've all been caught out. It's only Sick now left. And now he will join his teammates in the grave. What a weird round, Tanner. I mean, it seemed like Sentinels were on the right track when they were making Envy kind of scramble and respect that maybe they had pivoted back to A side, but Envy were quickly able to shift back, and then they just all popped off at once. That was such a quick exchange.
Yeah, and a really tough one because, again, I think we've probably said it on the desk together a handful of times where Valorant is that game. You get a pick here, you go over there. You get a pick there, you go back over here. And you kind of play that back and forth teeter-totter, and that's what we saw. We saw a kill over towards A, and instead of storming it, they tried to rotate. And not having the conventional Sentinel, only having that Sage, there wasn't a whole lot of information to be found. You know, there's no neural theft from Dapper this time to spot out those defenders, so it didn't leave a whole lot answered there for Sentinels, and end up getting running down, playing too slow. Shazam playing a bit quicker in this one. Finds that first op shot. Sinatra gonna go up top, but he's jumping, can't find his footing, but the res comes through, so they stay alive for a bit longer. Now a 5v3. The ultimates not necessarily being traded out. That lockdown does come through and should be able to push him off. Ness picks up a kill. Boost able to even the odds, and what once was a 6-man roster here in this round, now down to the last 3. They're playing off the site. Shazam has the blades available, and
look at this.
Oh, look at that angle.
Oh my goodness, they're going to meet each other here very soon, though, and Sentinels will be the one taking the victories, and that is broken the round back open for the team. It looked like Envy were actually shutting down this attack, but then, again, they thought maybe Sentinels were backing off. Then Dapper strikes, and that is the X factor of the round. Dapper has absolutely saved the day for Sentinels here. What a great round. He might even be the one to put the finishing touches. No, never mind. Finesse gets himself into a 1v2. And, well, that was a short-lived clutch situation, wasn't it? It's just Ham sent them out right away to take the lead back for Sentinels. And, man, like, honestly, the way that was playing out at first, I was actually pretty happy with how Envy were playing. They essentially were able to put the lockdown, despite the fact that they were behind in the man count. And that really forced the Hunter's Fury to be popped to shut down the lockdown. But that timing window is what Envy could use to start slipping back into the site as the Hunter's Fury was being burned, so they could actually get some kills and start prying the site back open. But then Dapper goes unchecked in the corner, finds a great timing, busts the site open with 2 big entries, and that is what allows Sentinels to pave the way forward. They've actually won 4 of the last 5, so they're starting to get some momentum going.
The momentum is exactly what they need to, especially for a team like this. And Sinatra, that swarm grenade that was just tossed out. A couple rounds ago, we saw Finesse bounce it off the barrier, and I mean, it yields the same result. This time it wasn't off the barrier, but Sinatra still finding that kill onto the Killjoy. Renders all of that utility now useless, but a kill traded back. No res available this time around. And Caboose finds another paint shell kill. They just keep planting in the same spot, and they get punished for it. Unfortunately, for Food. The stinger for Zom's gonna come out on top, but Crashies is another man on the flank. He's got the discipline for one, not gonna find the second. It's back and forth once more, but so much damage traded onto Dapper. He finally gets sat down. Now Zoms has to come up clutch. He finds the first inside the smoke. It's Omen v Omen. Zoms trying to keep the momentum going forward, and Zoms Nation 3 kills for the Omen.
Yeah, it seems like Envy have a couple of tricks up their sleeve on trying to shut down how Sentinels are doing this ice wall attack on B by banking Caboose's grenade and always doing significant damage to the planner, even finding the kill and kind of prompting Envy to, you know, have a foothold to launch a retake. But we're seeing individual plays shining through from Sentinels. It was Dapper last round with the big play to reel it back in. This round it's Zoms clutching. And the question you have to start asking yourself is, can these heroics continue for Sentinels? Or is eventually Envy's game plan going to pan out and get them some victories to keep themselves close to Sentinels and perhaps even still win the half when it's all said and done? The thing is, with Sentinels, they have so many hot players that heroics are certainly always possible, but that's a great opening pick for Mummy.
You don't hate to see that as an NB fan, taking down the operator for Sentinel. Shazam now off the board. One less thing to worry about. And a very deep run it back. We'll see what Food can get done. If anything, he jumps up and he finds and pops the Grape of Zom. So no clutch potential this time.
That is so unreal. It was about to fizzle out, too, where you would get no value from it. But then right at the end, he actually does catch a player. And that is so insane. Now Envy have a big 5-on-3 ahead of them to start closing the gap on the scoreboard and maybe start putting Sentinels to a little bit of a halt. Sentinels, though, still trying to strike onto A. Recon goes down, trying to clear out some angles. They're going to try to wall off here and get the spike into position. There's a little bit of a corner that they can plant in right there where the wall blocks things off, but even with the plant, he's caught right away, but at least they get that economy out of it. The round, different story.
Yeah, the round, definitely a different story. No Hunter Shuri this time. As Envy, it looked like they had it in the last. They finally string some together, and they get back now win column. It's a flawless one at that. So in a game where this economy matters so much, that's the best way to win a round.
Yeah, again, I've seen some good ideas out of Envy throughout all these rounds that they've been losing. It's just Sentinels have been able to pop off a bit better in some exchanges that were really key. This round, Envy were able to stay ahead the entire way through. Mummy gets to pick Food with the run it back, able to get some value. And then at that point, I mean, we kind of knew where the round was headed. Sentinels just trying to, you know, get something out of it by getting that spike plant. They will still get a good buy here, though. A couple players will be on stingers. But they do have the res. They do have Shazam, who can pack a bit more of a punch with the daggers as well alongside that stinger. So they still have pretty close to full firepower.
A lot going for him, and it looks like a creep up towards mid. Last time we saw this, it was the Sage wall going out. Ooh, Caboose gonna stop it this time. The play under 2 not going to work. The res comes through. We've seen how this one ends. That 6-man roster somehow, some way. Usually able to find a round win, but it's back and forth we go once more. Now in a 4v4, although the res used, the blades now going to be popped here by Shazam as that spike tries to creep onto the side. A nice left click is going to find the Grape of Caboose. He's going to go up top for a couple more, but runs into 2. Now we find ourselves in a 3v3. Another member here cut down in Sentinels. They just find a way, but look at the spike dust.
Oh, but look at this. Oh, he gets caught. No way. I thought he was going to be the spoiler and all that, but no, Envy do collect him, and that leaves Sick all by his lonesome. He does have the spike. He's got a little bit of time to play around with, but they hear them hopping around, and he's going to try to come in here and see what he can do, but he has to face both players at once. There was never a chance really given to him there. Envy are doing some great things. They contest that so well. Give credit to Caboose there under 2. Forces a res out of Sentinels and doesn't even let them benefit from it, as he was able to lay down the paint shelves right there for the follow-up. And then, yeah, catching Sinatra in the back lines was so huge. And I'm going to be real with you. It does feel like Sinatra hasn't really gotten a whole hell of a lot out of this Reyna. He is 3-12 right now. And you have to wonder if a bit of that is because he doesn't really play Reyna in officials. I mean, he's really only been playing it a bit on Icebox. And you wonder if that lack of familiarity is kind of coming back to haunt him just a little bit. I know it helped them out when they won their last 2 games on Icebox with him on the Reyna, but he's having a tough time today, and you need to thrive with kills to be successful, and it's not going to happen this round either, as Food is relentless on this A-side aggression.
Now, I will say, he was rezzed twice and then died twice. So some rounds he had 2 deaths. But yeah, your point stands where Sinatra just hasn't really gotten going, and maybe Sinatra on Reyna works against LG, and maybe it works against IMT, but we're seeing it, the change in pace, momentum, structure for each team. Not everything is going to work every single time. You can't just keep, running at them and expecting the same result. That's exactly what's happening here. And Sentinels, no res available this time around. Cut down their last 2. One pushed it up inside a nest, though. Shazam already made his way up top, but Caboose cuts him down. Make it 2, as it's all up to Zoms. And this is a tough one to get done. A stinger in hand, and he might just walk away from it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point to raise here, as the site is well and truly locked down. Spike is well out of reach. On top of that, Zoms trying to angle around the best he can in this opening of the wall. He does indeed find Mummy, but that is all he will find except for a tombstone, as Finesse will put it between the eyes and put Envy back in the lead. They have been on a bit of a streak here. They've won 4 of the last 6, including the last 3 in a row. As we go into the final round of the half, it seems like they're really starting to get the wind in their sails. And again, they already have a map to the good, so they are starting to keep that 2-0 dream a real possibility and get their first ever series victory over Sentinels and get themselves the first master spot available here in the NA region. And what a story it would be, as they have been really just steamrolling through their most recent games. So they're really on a good form streak right now. Will it keep up, or can Sentinels put a halt to it?
And Hunter's Fury actually gonna silence Sinatra once more. Sick also gonna get tagged up, trading out the Hunter's Fury of his own. So an awkward spot to be in. Again, no res available, and I'm not too sure how close Dapper is to that one. He picks up an orb. Now needs to find not only an orb over towards A, but a kill on top of it also. 2 kills here. There are 2 members, but a very tall order. Envy kind of seem to have the recipe now to be closing out a 7-5 half.
Indeed, they do, and they still have the paint shells available on Caboose, so if that wall goes down yet again for that plant over on B side, he again has the lineup to really make them pay for trying to go for that particular plant. It's all about whether or not he can get it off, and well, Shazam finding that pick, that's going to really take that tool off the table. But Crashies and company swinging back in. Huge play from Crashies with the hat trick before Zoms finally silences him. But Mummy catches Zoms' rotation, and now it's all on Sick. And he is not long for this world. It is going to be Envy taking the lead 7-5. And
the Sentinel show there, Dust, for those 3 rounds that they strung together.
Take flight.
it was for a bit, but Envy came right on back, didn't they? And now we're on to their attacking side. And they have been very successful on the attacking side. They're at 71% win rate on attack on Icebox. Now, granted, some of those games were against weaker opposition like Space Station and Beast Coast, but it's also come against teams like Ambox and Immortals. So, I mean, they are definitely a dangerous team here at Sentinels. They need to be a bit fearful of.
As that classic proves to be a dangerous weapon, taking down the Frenzy of One. FNS finds the first kill. But Sentinels strike back, pick up one, make it another as Brutal fall. But the spike has been planted. Now everybody looking to get cut down. Now Crashies with a beautiful shock dart. Gonna make sure that Paranoia gets 0 value. And Sinatra, this is the man of the hour. The man of the half needs to have himself a handful of kills here in this one to work his way on up. 2 kills is exactly what he needs to find. One playing out towards yellow, one playing out towards mid. Dapper gonna get cut down by Crashies, and Sinatra finds himself in a 1v2. It's the classic of FNS on site. Sinatra trying to run Crashies down, but the ring around the rosy. This is how you have to play it. He's running out of time. He finds the kill, but what does it mean? It means a whole lot of nothing. It means another pistol to Envy, Dust.
Indeed, it does. They will jump up further on the scoreboard. And they are all firing, man. I have to say that as well. I guess Food's a little bit behind the pack, but not by much, and everyone else is just popping when they need to. Granted, Sentinels, they've had a couple players also shine, but again, when you're Sinatra and you're playing an agent like Reyna that is reliant upon snowballing, she needs those frags to collect orbs to dismiss and be a nuisance, to heal herself, to sustain. and he's not getting a lot of those right now. And while, yeah, sure, his leers can, you know, create some distance, and just having Arena out there can instill some fear. I mean, you're not really fearing him too much. Like, you've kind of sniffed out the bark at this point, and it's not a pit bull. It's a bit more of a chihuahua right now. But we'll see. There's still time for him. We know how good of a player he can be, but it's got to come soon, because Envy are inching closer and closer to that finishing tape, and they're about to break through and reach the Masters podium. But we'll have to see, as this round's going to be a bit tougher on Sentinels. They are already a couple players down, and obviously firepower is a bit of a mixed bag.
And the Stingers, as strong as they are, it looks like they're only going to offer so much. Shazam trying to close the distance, able to find the dink onto Crashies, but not able to secure the kill. At the very least, the spike hasn't been planted. Sentinels have that going for them. And Sinatra gets tagged up by the shock dart. There's a couple of low HP members, so this could be where we see the dismissed. We could see the heal. Unfortunately, Sinatra going to fall. Zom's going to follow suit. And not even needing the spike plant there as MB grabbed that second round.
There just seems to be kind of a mood across this game right now where it seems like Envy just can't miss. They just seem to be so on point, and it's been building up for quite some time. They have just been dominating their last few matches, even rarely allowing their teams to get double digits on any of the maps that they've played. They have been absolutely smashing people. We've seen Food and Caboose and just really keep that individual form climbing. Mummy and Crash, have always been super consistent. They're continuing to shine, and they are just looking so dangerous right now. And Sentinels, they're running out of room to figure things out here. They're getting pushed off this B defense. Food is going to keep pushing forward.
And very, very healthy again. So the Stinger, when you're closing these angles and you're running and gunning, it feels a whole lot better than when you're trying to hold one of those deep angles, as we saw Shazam trying to do earlier in that last round. Now it's a full stack up towards B. You still have one hanging out towards mid. And I'm surprised that we're not seeing a bit more mid presence from this NV squad. I thought we might see it early as that turret spots out Dapper. I'm not too sure if that wall is still available. This round is an uphill battle. Hunter Shuri available. You've got, again, Caboose, who has been so money with those paint shells. Still has those available. It does sound like they are going to go out and find the damage onto Sinatra, who's forced to back away. That drone going to get some info, and a recon bolt right behind it. Going to spot the push onto this B side for the sprays. Come down. Zom's the first to find the kill, but Caboose will finish that one off. Sinatra, although on low HP, is able to battle back
30 seconds left.
and find the kill onto Caboose, the member who once did damage to him with those paint shells. The spike actually going to get stopped, but Food still picks up the kill. Sentinels are delaying as long as they can. The HP bars are low on the two remaining. The wall is up. The shorty up top from Shazam. Not going to find too much just yet. And there's just no way out. That's the spike now down on the ground. And FNS running out of time. Has to find everything here. No time to plant. Only time to frag out. And he's not able to do it. Sentinels against all odds grab a round.
That was a nail biter. Like you said, the clock was down to the wire. It's down to 1v1. He has to get the kill. He was picking the right direction to swing on, but was not able to collect, and so Sentinels do just hang on. Sinatra that round was able to be pretty effective. Not only did he get his kill, but he stalled them out for so long. He was always, you know, being a factor. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. I think people are thinking I'm dogging Sinatra out because he's having a bad game. No, you just have to understand how pivotal this map is worth and understand Sinatra is typically super good. And so it's actually kind of shocking to see him struggle. Yeah. And that's a real factor in how this map is playing out. And so it has to be pointed out, I feel like. I would be doing a disservice if I didn't. But that was a nice little recovery round for Sentinels. It's going to be about whether or not they can build off of it now. Oh my. Okay, Caboose.
The fadeaway on the operator there. Shazam will fall, and this is the mid play that I was expecting to see. Envy. Ooh, no, Sinatra trades it back, dismisses away here, and I think that's going to deter you from wanting to push mid any further as Zoms finds a kill on his counterpart, and Sentinels are starting to battle back. We're getting the inverse dust. It looked like the Sentinels show. Envy reel it back in. It looked like the Envy show, and now Sentinels are starting to reel it back in.
Yeah, good job there from Zoms and Sinatra in tandem to play off each other. Food trying to run it back here to push off the retake a bit, as it is a man advantage for Sentinels on this Sweep back through a site, but Finesse connects the dots. Now it's back equal. Crash, he's catching this flank here, catching 6, swapping around, and not ready. And now Envy are up.
Hunter Shuri not going to find the tag onto Sinatra here, as he does find a kill. Food able to finish what he started. Dapper trying to do everything he can. He's only got 4 HP, and it's a shock dart from downtown that put Envy back to their winning ways. But these rounds, Dust, are back and forth.
Indeed, they very much are, but that's favoring Envy. They're already out in front. They're fine going tit for tat at this point. It's Sentinels that have the pressure on. They're the ones up against the ropes. And don't get me wrong, there is still a lower bracket to be played. There is still, you know, a lifeline, I guess you can say, to Masters, even with the loss here. But the person waiting for you is 100 Thieves, and that's no guaranteed match either if you're Sentinels. Now, granted, all these teams are still guaranteed at the very minimum Challengers 3 spots, so that's good. Like, there's still ways back in, don't get me wrong. But, again, you beat Envy every time. This was the way for you to get to Masters, right? It was lined up for you. You're loving this head-to-head historically. But Envy are shining through, man, and it's nice to see, because I know that they always have felt in the past that Sentinels had their number despite how well that they've been able to place and, you know, where they were typically at on their rankings, and now they're starting to deliver in this matchup too.
No Stopper looking to get aggressive as Food finds the first kill. Boombot right behind, using that like Yowl drone, trying to play right behind it to see if it got any info. Unfortunately, not a whole lot, but acting as that baby lockdown, and here comes the mama bear lockdown, but Shazam says, I don't think so. Finds that first kill and looks to continue pushing forward to stay aggressive. Tries to take the lockdown for his team, but one player to be detained on this site. Dapper, Sinatra still hanging out nice and pretty, not going to be detained. They're pushing up nice and close. They're taking the fight right to him, and it's Crashies again with the shock darts going just a bit too far. Doesn't have the angle, finds 2 kills on the way out, but Sentinels pick up another.
Yeah, really well done. Sentinels are striking back here. They are keeping themselves very much in this race. They have not fallen off just yet. But again, at these rounds, keep going back and forth like this, Envy will eventually taste victory. And these economies are just so fragile for both these teams, and no one's really building up much of a loss bonus. And it's like, who's it going to catch up to first? And it feels like it's going to be Envy on the losing end of that deal. They have to come into this round with a couple of Sheros, the Stinger, a Frenzy. It's looking a little bit grim. This is Sentinel's chance to strike back here, Tanner. This is their chance to close that gap on the scoreboard and remain very relevant here on this map of Icebox, as that drone doesn't really spot out anything. They get no intel, and in fact, Sonatra's able to keep up this close position on yellow.
And it's a nice angle, an especially nice angle to play with that Leer. We saw that queued up just a moment ago, so he's waiting to hear anything and then look to swing on out, and he might be good for 3. As here it is, queued on up. Smokes are going to go out. Going to smoke off Snowman to try and stop that deep push. Leer goes through, it's taken down almost immediately. Sinatra's able to find one, looking for the second, but he's traded back. It's an eco round again for Envy, and they're finding the kills. Dapper from downtown will come out on that trade, but Sentinels down to the last 2 should... Dapper's got the res, actually, so it could be a 3v3 at the very least. No, the res is now taken off the board.
Oh my goodness, they needed Sinatra to collect that orb and get out of there, but he just got overwhelmed by numbers. Envy just pop off 3 kills in the blink of an eye, even with just mostly pistols, and now they all of a sudden have a 3-on-1. It's all on Shazam inside the container waiting.
Very scary spot to be, but he's able to down one. Takes the spike down. Now running out of time is Envy once more. They find themselves in an awkward spot, and Shazam is looking to clutch up. He's able to create some distance, and Food just has to try and run him down. The hot hands go through, and that's going to be it. Shazam goes clutch in a 1v3.
What a big play from Shazam. It was looking like it was going to go Envy's way. They had done so well to overwhelm that B site, stamp Sinatra out, and start laying claim to that territory. But Shazam, ever crafty, finding his battles and choosing them wisely, and then in the end just stands his ground and brute forces food into oblivion. And now an 8th round rings out from Sentinels, and all of a sudden Envy's lead is withering away, but they are back onto a full buy this round, including an operator in their possession. So there's still a chance for them to, you know, keep this one going.
Yeah, and notably, like you said, back to a full buy. Last one, it was that eco, but they all had the upgraded rifles. I think maybe Food was out of ammo, swap into the secondary there, but they found kills, they found rifles, and it was definitely a round that Envy should have been able to pick up. But Shazam going back to the Sentinels' way, doing what they do best, the heroics coming on through. Now Food trying to right his wrongs from the last. He's gonna go wide on the shots on Sinatra, who will be able to top himself off, send that Phoenix right back, and now the play towards B once more. This has not been the best spot for him, as Sick can use that Hunter's Fury. Not able to find a tag just yet. The kill's gonna be traded back and forth on this B site. But we have to pay attention to the clock dust. There's a whole lot of time, but that has been what is killing Envy here as Finesse finds another kill. Ooh,
finally, though, they got Shazam off the board, a key piece off the squares that has been in this game of chess for Sentinels time and time again. But Sick, he's still standing, and we know how consistent this guy can be. He's come in, he's found one, he's evened it back up to a 2-on-2. The spike is ticking, and Sick is going to fade it all. It's up to Zoms. Now he lines them both up, though, anyway, with the Stinger. 4 HP to spare, but it's all that matters is the result, not how you get there. And that's going to be a knife from Sentinels, and oh my goodness, Tanner, the pendulum does seem to swing, and it's fading right back into the Sentinels camp. They have won 4 of the last 5. They're 1 away from tying it up, and they're keeping that 3rd map very much on the table all of a sudden.
And it feels so bad because Envy put themselves in winning situations, but then you line up perfectly like that. If you split yellow box, things go differently, but they don't.
Yes.
And again, it's the heroics for Sentinels. And this time, it's very close. They're about to find themselves a lead, and all of the momentum is in their favor. And it's quite possibly another eco buy here from Envy.
Yeah, it's just like those little, it's like those little finer details that are all of a sudden getting overlooked. Like you said, you could either split the yellow boxes, or you could just make sure that you're swinging a little bit on a different timing to where you're not an easy lineup. And then Zoms all of a sudden has to kind of flick back and forth, and it's very likely he only gets one of you, and then you win the round. All of a sudden you're at 11, Sentinels are still at 8. You're near math and series point. But woulda, coulda, shouldas, you know, don't amount to really much but speculation. You know, well, the reality is now they're sitting on Stingers, as you said, their economy very much in tatters. And, you know, Sentinels all of a sudden are sitting in the driver's seat of this map, and they are very close to, you know, parking this baby in a brand new garage, which could be that 3rd map.
Looking like it is. We do have that tactical pause up here. Envy just trying to slow the momentum a little bit, ice the kicker a bit for this Sentinels squad, just to really take a deep breath, because once the rounds are kicking off, it is just go, go, go. The kills are coming back and forth, and for the last couple, it's been, like we said, the heroics for Sentinels. Zoms, Shazam picking up those kills. Sinatra, again, a little bit lower, but the impact frag that he's had when he took so much damage from Caboose off the paint shells, later comes back in that round to kill Caboose and take the Raze out of the equation. So just a whole lot going on here.
It seems like the key piece has been Shazam in all of this. Like, he has been getting so many opening picks with this operator, and, well, speak of the devil, he's found yet another. And Envy were already behind in this round when it came to firepower. Now you add the man count deficit to that, and it's just really looking a bit grim from them stopping Sentinels on tying this thing up. It's going to take something crazy for them to strike back now, it seems.
Shazam went for the quick scope there, able to get out, dash to safety without taking too much damage. A nice recon bolt from Sick, is able to net a kill, and he's able to find another as he pushes up aggressively. Again, it was that thrifty eco buy. Now an upgrade for Crash. He's full HPs. He tries to trade the kill back, and maybe his mouse died there because his crosshair was not moving. But either way, Sentinels, not only do they tie that up, but they hang on to every single ultimate.
Yeah, that is pretty huge. As you said, not having to expend a whole lot. Again, it's just Shazam with this op, man. He's just always out there. I feel like his name often doesn't get rewarded enough because you got people out there like Wardell and some other, you know, very strong Jet players in our region. But Shazam is right up there in that mix, man. He is really solid, and he has been having a hell of a defensive half here to keep Sentinels, you know, in contention on ice spots. It looked like Envy were starting to break away. I feel like he's been such a factor in reeling it back in. But now we're back onto the full buy for Envy. Shazam chooses a little bit of a new starting location here, but still towards that A side. And that is certainly the spot that Envy seemed to want to pry open. Drone coming up through middle from Sentinels to get a little bit of that intel on what they're up against. Here comes the lockdown.
And we saw Shazam last time with the heroics. No, Caboose not even looking. Waiting for somebody to push that lockdown. Instead, Shazam finds that kill. This time around, nobody detained, and the spike yet to be planted. The turret goes down, but what can Shazam do about it? He can make sure it doesn't get too much. The spike now on the floor. The rest comes through onto Sinatra once more, but Mummy is trying to take this round into his own hands. 3 kills for the Omen. Food, unfortunately, not going to find too much. He tries to ult away, but Shazam again will stunt the play. Crashes the top frag here in a 1v3. The knives are available. The recon bolt's gonna try and spot him out, but Zombs will take him down, and Sentinels find themselves in the lead.
Oh my goodness, again, it's Shazam kind of the starting point of the round, and he also comes in clutch a little bit later as well. He finds just a sitting duck there in Caboose, and then it comes with the daggers on Mummy trying to ult the way. He wasn't alone in his efforts, however. It must be said that his teammates really came in and helped him out. Mummy certainly put a good foot forward on that round as well. He had a really big moment there after having a bit of a quiet patch, but it just wasn't enough. And now Sentinels do have the lead. It's been quite some time since they've been the one in the advantage. And so this is starting to get down to the wire.
And notably at the half, you had noted everybody firing on all cylinders here just about for this NB squad. Everybody working together. Unfortunately, Caboose again taken off the board early. The mid play not going to work out this time around, but the spike over towards B, now it's going to be planted. We finally get to see one of these post plants. Is this one going to work out? Through the smoke, Food's going to find a kill. No res available, and the only ult available here for Sentinels is that from the shadows. Not going to be a whole lot to get done with that one. FNS on the flank, but he's going to get sat down. 1 for 1, they will go. It's a 3v3 as Sinatra continues to push forward. He will dismiss away, and Shazam is there to back him up. The Lear goes through. It's a 3K for the Jet, and Sentinels, it was swift, and now they're on match point.
Yeah, that round was looking really close, but then Sinatra able to get a big frag, dismiss, be that annoying Reyna finally, be that nuisance, and, you know, be that thorn in Envy's side, and it unlocks Shazam to be able to press forward, and he just continues to instill his will on this game. He is having a ludicrous defensive half. He has been absolutely all over the place with that operator, whether it's getting opening picks, whether it's pushing in people's faces and closing down rounds. He has just been so money, dude. I mean, Shazam, tip your hat to that guy. He is basically driving Sentinels back forward. He's you know, correcting the ship, and now it's very much looking to port on a third map.
13-10 in map number 1. Envy's grabbed themselves a lead, looking to be 13-10 here for Sentinels. Pretty hindered by. Coming on through his Food, gonna get tagged out, shot through the wall. A huge heads-up spray from Sinatra, and also finding the kill onto Mummy, who is swinging outside of yellow. Now Sinatra starting to feel himself, and across the map, Sick will find one with the Hunter Shuri. Make it another, as Dapper was there just to try and help out. Sentinels looking to close it out, and it's all up to Caboose, who has floundered a bit in this second half. Blast pack goes through, not able to dodge out on the shots, and Sentinels will bring us to map 3.
Oh my goodness, what a run from Sentinels towards the end of that second half. Envy were threatening a 2-0 on the series, and it looked like they were in firm position to do so for quite some on the stage. Everybody else taking agents that you would expect, as Sinatra has often played Raze on this map. So really nothing to highlight on Sentinels. This is exactly what you would expect. Now, over on the Envy side, there is something I want to point out. This is one of the maps where Mummy will actually pick up the jet and be that traditional jet operator. That's going to mean that Caboose is going to go onto the Omen and away from a duelist. So that's one thing to point out. Here's the other thing to point out that I think is very interesting. Lately, we have been seeing Envy put Crashies on the Sky on Split. He's played some Breach in the past on this map, but now they have him play in the Sky. So that is one other thing that's going to come and be a factor on this map. So going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. There's also food coming off the Phoenix and being put onto a Raze as well. Again, that's not going to be, you know, too much different for him. He's definitely put a lot of games out on Raze as well. Yeah, Phoenix is definitely his main. He's got way more games on it, but this map really does play to Raze's kit, and he's going to be able to, I would imagine, you know, play it pretty darn well as he has done in the past. So this is it, man. Frenzy's aplenty, lots on the line. And Envy will kick us off here on the attack as they're looking to storm into B lobby.
And again, Frenzies, the Ghost, A-okay in this one, but a lot of the times we're going to be seeing the feeding of Frenzy. Now over towards this B site, like you noted, shots up from heaven. Nice little spray down. Sinatra going to find the first, and he is picking up, and he is hot here in this one. 3 quick kills will stunt this push, and you see Alert coming around from Mummy, but somebody's right behind him, Dust, trailing very closely.
Indeed, that is going to be the case, as Mummy is going to get caught up here in a crossfire inside B Heaven, and Caboose doesn't seem like he's long for this world either. Does dodge the paint shells, but does not escape the bullets of Sinatra. A big hat trick for Sinatra. I think that's kind of big for him, right? We know that he had his struggles on Reyna on Icebox, so to see him come out like that with a big hat trick round on pistol, I'm sure that's going to do, you know, good for his mental game and kind of allow him to focus back up. No kills that round from Envy. They got absolutely shut down.
Nothing. And it does, it makes this next round hurt, right? Stinger's coming on through. That's the way of the land here for this Valorant patch. And I would imagine a lot of their utility takes a hit. You see no trap wires there for the Cypher, and the rest of the team probably going to be following suit, you know, having to buy up that light armor and the Stinger behind it. Fortunately for Crashies, as the flashes, the Trailblazer can heal up his team, which in these earlier rounds gets a whole lot of value for your squad.
Yeah, Sky does give you a lot of the value that Silva gives you on other maps, but Silva obviously doesn't get played here, so you kind of get a little bit of that with Sky. Plus, like you said, the healing of teammates and things of that nature. As Envy not wasting any time here, getting some mid control, putting that pressure on Rogue's position. They're looking to now even threaten A Heaven and simultaneously take B Heaven and get an entry. So they're making it hard on Sentinels to try to get a proper read on how they should be rotating. They're getting a lot of map control, and now they actually have man advantage, and they're starting to lay into A Heaven. They're going to attack onto the site, and it's pretty empty.
Yep, fairly empty as the two rotating are going to be through screens. Sinatra going to be trailing right behind. No, not through vents. Is going to opt into going back through that defender-sided spawn as he makes me eat my words. And yeah, you saw the transition over towards B because a couple of kills came through, and then the about face back to A. Sentinels didn't really know where this play was going to take place. Now Flash still available. Gonna get some information that one is playing up towards Heaven, possibly two, as they are up there. Zam gonna push onto the site. Mummy gonna take him down. That's Mummy on the jet this time around. You pointed it out, and it's starting to pay off. The cloud burst goes through to try and stop anybody else coming through elbow, and Sinatra now needs to show up. He's got some help. Unfortunately, as I said, Dapper was mowed down in Envy. They win the force. They tie us up 1-1, and we are back to the slobber knocker, Dust.
Indeed we are. And I mean, again, Split really does a lot of times on attacking side come down to how well you're able to control middle, and with that, how are you able to bounce off of it and threaten those Heaven positions on both sides of the map. And what Ropes being such a quick transition process to get back and forth between the two, you can really make defenses scramble and have to play for retakes, or just have to always be in kind of, you know, situations of uncertainty. And certainly that's what Envy were able to do there, even with just the Stingers. And now we see Crashies using the Trailblazer to clear out some of these close angles and get some B lobby control. Not going to be able to get more than that. Has to just back off, but still his job is somewhat done, kind of clearing out a little bit of key intel. Wall is down at middle, though, so that's certainly going to slow down that portion, but now they'll spray it down.
I think notable about those sky flashes as well, or really any flashes in Valorant, is even if it's behind you, you're looking away, you get a little bit of the effect from being flashed. So that flash going through B main tells them that nobody's pushing in. Obviously, it went all the way out towards sight, but if somebody was pushing in and that flash was behind them, it would have told them that they're blinded, but blindsided our food and Mummy as they look to push up towards heaven, but Sick, the bouncer at the door, not letting it happen this time around, and they're just going to get corralled. The spike is now down, and there it is, Crashies all by his lonesome. Gonna get run down. A flawless round in response from Sentinels.
Yeah, that was really big. You got to tip your hat to Sick there, just playing from the rafters, getting 2 huge kills. That really just busted Envy's attack before it could even really get started. Yes, they were able to get that mid control, but you got to be able to peel back that next layer to really get something going, and they were not able to do that. Sick holds firm. Once his wall broke down, he knew the potential for that attack, and he was able to deal with it very effectively. And so that's 2 now to Sentinels, so a little bit of a back and forth here to kick off this map. We are going to see the buyback here from Envy, though. A couple of rifles in play, a Stinger, and I believe a Sheriff is the 5th gun of choice. Camming here to try to make sure no one's getting aggressive on the orb or A ramps to start. Cage will be there so they can start the cross, looking to try to control ramps, get into A heaven. Spike has been left behind, so it's not a firm commitment, but they at least want to put a threat here, maybe get a pick, and again, just get some early map control. Give you something to work with. Give the defense something to sweat about. He's going to be able to get the stun there in the back halls.
So a bit of information, Sinatra on the rotate, does get spotted out, trying to trade back the damage. A couple of Spectres from downtown, but the Vandal comes out on top, and Crashy some way, somehow picks it up with the Stinger. Now Sentinels find themselves on the back foot, and it's been the split pressure the entire game. Envy are keeping it on all over the map. This time, a bit more heavy towards A, a bit more heavy towards mid, and it's starting to work out.
Yeah, it certainly is here. As they are now storming through A heaven with that 2-man advantage. They have full control side. There's a defender blocked off inside elbow, isolated from support, but Dapper comes through screens and finds one, and Zom's able to sit on the site, but he is quickly dealt with. There was a small spurt of energy from Sentinels, but now it's being stamped out. Sick was trying to give it a bit more life, but never could quite get it all the way through. Envy will get the victory. They'll get the plant. They'll tie things right back up, and it's tit for tat again, Tanner. No one really gaining control of the game just yet. It's still very much up for grabs.
Both teams were on a bit of a hindered economy as well. There were a couple of rifles sprinkled in and SMGs. Now we're getting kind of the same thing. Crashy's going to be on that Stinger, who was very potent on it in that last one. But this should be the round that really starts to creep one team further ahead. The ultimates available. You have a handful of information from Envy. On the opposite side for Sentinels, you've got some damage, and worst case scenario, again, you have that res coming on through. You'll have that 6th man on your team for that round should they choose to use it here. And I don't think this round is a bad time to use it. I think this is very important as far as the economy goes.
Yeah, once again, mid-control being taken by Envy. They're going to clear out Rote's position as well, make sure they can safely take that. And again, that just opens up so many extra options on that flow chart on the attacking side of Split to have this. But we do see the Jet tucks in after the Trailblazer has faded, so it is going to be a challenge. Once again, Sick playing B-Heaven from that Raptors position. He is pushed off, however, so Envy are getting so much ground right now, but Sick, again, up to the task of defending.
Finding a kill, walking away with low HP, but gladly you will trade that as the B site has been taken just about all the way across the board. Sentinels looking to find a way in. It's Sinatra with the showstopper. Behind him is Crashies, and the showstopper gets nothing. Now the spike to be planted, but you still cannot count this Sentinel squad out. You've got a couple playing up towards heaven, one playing back towards that defender-sided spawn. What can Shazam find here? He's got to check every single angle. And again, the tall box added, the different angles that you have here playing back towards the defender side of spawn, but 2 kills come on through, and now things are looking quite a bit more doable. Caboose gonna push on in, find a kill, no longer on the raise, but the Omen, and another one to follow. Can he make it 3? Yes, he can. Envy inch that one out.
Indeed, they do. And again, it just comes down to how well they're implementing this mid control. And that time around, they were also able to even push Sick off of B Heaven and kind of limit his impact. And now the economy is starting to become a limiting factor for Sentinels, because finally, Envy has won a couple in a row. And again, no real big loss bonus has been yet built up. And so we're actually going to see Sentinels, they're going to go on the full Stingers, which they can afford to do. They will hit max loss bonus if they lose here, so they still have a full buy next round no matter what. Yeah, it probably would lack an operator or something like that. Actually, no, Shazam would be able to buy it. So yeah, they're going to put something forward here, but nothing to hamstring their economy completely. And this is Envy's chance to maybe start breaking open that score. They're going to be looking to fight for B lobby control while simultaneously also pressuring the A ramp. So no mid this time, but still applying pressure in multiple areas, making the defense a little bit stressed out on where they need to be focusing.
Cover going out.
Blazer going up towards heaven is going to spot out Shazam. And note the arsenal a little bit. That is hurting, as that Phantom will sit Zombs down in the neural theft. Get the information of Sinatra rotating over. And the remaining 2 playing out towards B. Looking to be a quick take onto A here, but Envy, they've actually been stunted a little bit. They're playing it a bit slower, and that Spike still really trailing out towards A main. They have not found a way in, and the site, obviously known to us, was free just moments ago. Sinatra gonna go 1-for-1, trade it right back. Dapper is here doing the stingers, find the damage from downtown, and Sick with the running headshots onto Caboose. And it makes you think, what was Envy waiting for? Because they run right to their doom. Now Sick, the last one standing. That Stinger, again, not a gun that you can count out here. Also has the res available should he be able to get to one of these bodies for his teammates.
Yeah, that's exactly how come they haven't left him alone yet and displayed the 2-on-1 post, but they don't want him to have a chance to res here. Food wants to stick around and prevent that, and he's going to be able to do just that and get the kill onto Sick. I think most people would expect you just back off, let your teammate play the 2v1, but it wasn't a guaranteed 2v1 if Sick was able to find the res. So good job there by him to stick around and not allow that, and that's going to put a 4th round on the board for Envy. Or it's going to be 4 alts in play for Envy as well coming into this next round, including the Seekers of Crashies, which can obviously be used for some pretty nifty little burst plays, which Envy are certainly no strangers to. We talked about it time and time again. I don't want to beat a dead horse about it, but Envy certainly one of those explosive teams, just like Sentinels are. And so early round fireworks are always a factor. And when you have a tool like Seekers to add to it, it just really, you know, kind of emphasizes it more.
And Sinatra gonna get 2 through the smoke here. Playing aggressive, not giving any space for a play to be made with those Seekers. Not just yet, at the very least. And Caboose, some way, somehow, will find Sick. And Sentinels, no longer, as I was about to say, find themselves on the back foot. They're going to even the odds, and they're forced to use the blades here. Crashy on low HP. The unfortunate thing about the Sky is cannot heal himself, and it's looking like another play towards B. That wall only going to cut off mid, and this time you don't have to worry about the res. You can play that 2v1 that you talked about, Dust.
Exactly. Really well done here by Envy, particularly that ult from Caboose into A Heaven. He catches a great time and gets a couple of big kills into A Heaven, and those back hauls put Shazam in a very tough 1v2. But Sky is low, so it was a winnable, but Caboose holding a solid angle there beats Shazam to the jump, able to get the frag and put this one to 5-2 in favor of Envy. Caboose having a hell of a game at 9 kills. And Envy are really starting to build up nicely. This was a nice little stall out from Sentinels early on at A-Ramps, but again, Caboose's maneuvering with the ult, able to kind of break it back open. A big hat-trick round from him. Massive impact from Caboose. And that is going to give them quite the lead, and Sentinels' economy absolutely in the bin this round. We'll just have to go for the Stingers.
Yeah, and what was that round? As again, through the smoke, Sinatra trying to make a play. Last time it was 2 kills spraying through the smoke. This time trying to push through with the Stinger. Close the gap. The Phantom still coming out on top for finesse. Res is available, but that's a spooky spot to try and res now.
Yeah, Sick, I think, is just really showing you the power of Sky on a map like Split, where you don't have a Sova usually available because no one plays it for good reason. You're able to use the Trailblazer to kind of do a lot of the same things a drone would do. So it gives you that extra ability to get information, get map control, and just win the information game, which is like such an important aspect of Valorant. Like, you know, that between the normal economy system, the alt economy system, you know, map control, like all those different things, you know, that you're going to see in a tactical shooter. That information game is big with the different abilities you can play. And Sick, we'll get a couple of big kills. Oh, man, he was trying to get a res off. That could have made the round very interesting, but he's been caught, and it seems like Envy now will maybe be comfortably putting finishing touches on this.
30 seconds left.
Hey, I'm no coach, I'm no ginormous brain analyst, but Envy's gotta stop lining up for these guys. It's been 3 times that they found spray downs like that, and you would think you'd be an extra man up here had that not happened. Sure, the kill did get traded, but Shazam back in the 1v2, and there's not many more people who are more clutch than this Jet right here as he swings on through. Mummy will find 3, and you gotta stop lining up for him. It does work out in Envy's favor, but we've seen it in that last map on Icebox. The clutch situations, when you line up, they usually go the way of Sentinels.
Yeah, certainly can be a factor. Definitely something to, you know, always have to be weary of. But again, Mummy, great catch there to stop the res. And then Envy able to dot the I's and cross the T's of yet another round. They're starting to build up a nice little lead here in the first half. They won 5 in a row. They're starting to really gain control of the game here. There is a buyback, though, now for Sentinels. They do have plenty of ults as well. So this is the moment where they should be able to strike back if they're ever going to do so in this half. And again, this map is very defensive-sided for both these teams. Both these teams really, you know, like to claim very high defensive win rates on Split. It's kind of their backbone of how they're able to succeed on Split. And so for Envy to have this much success on TAC already is a worrying sign if you're a Sentinels fan. So it's kind of now or no if you're Sentinels to recover. This is your moment. This is your buy. This is where you got all the ults. You got to make this one work. Oh, look at this, though. Look at how much ground Caboose has cleared at B. Oh, my God. He's fully in.
They're all the way up just about everywhere. Sentinels back off so much, but they trade 2 for 1. So favorable, although the map control not in their favor. And the res finally comes through, so it's going to be that 5v3.
Oh,
Caboose
no.
had so much space, but he fumbles it. And Sentinels are looking to get back in this one as the plant comes through. FNS not going to be able to get too much there. Mummy going to whip on the knives, and it wasn't flawless. It looks flawless, but Sentinels battle back and put another one in the win column.
Yeah, that's so wild. When Caboose got all that ground and was in back halls of B, I thought that Envy were sure to pivot back and just lay claim to an empty site, but they can never transition the bulk of their forces. Yeah, they had B under Caboose's control. The spike was transitioning over. There's still 3 players essentially locked into A ramps in A heaven position, and they couldn't really back off. And they actually wound up losing a big exchange when Fu gets caught there. I don't know why they did that. I would have thought maybe just pounce into ropes and transition back over to middle and split that B site that you've laid claim to thanks to Caboose's, you know, lurking option, but that wasn't the case at all. And they fumbled a big one there. That's going to kind of crack the door back open for Sentinels. That's a big victory to claim, Sick being a big part of it. This time he's trying to get a little bit crazy at middle. Doesn't work out for him, but gets away with his life, so no harm, no foul.
He got a bit of damage down onto Mummy, too. So
True.
Not that that matters a whole lot because it only takes 1 shot from Mummy. But now it could be a phantom 1-tap. You know, it could be a secondary picking up a headshot in close quarters that could sit Mummy down with the operator. We'll see how all of that pans out as, again, it's mid-control. Trailblazer and go on through into ropes. Now we've seen that not necessarily be the safest play, and through the smokes again, they will go. Sick playing right inside. Gonna dodge out on that flash, so no information there.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to allow him to get the jump on them because they were expecting that flash to get a read if someone was going to be playing in through B heaven, but not going to be the case. He's still going to be holding this corner, but with no way out, he is going to get sniffed out by Food. And so Envy getting the big entry. Heals coming in as well from the sky. Caboose is also still laying claim to A heaven, still being that aggro lurk option for the team. And again, he's clearing so much space alone. This time you feel like they're primed to actually build off of it. Well,
he flips back around and Sinatra takes him down, but what a read by Sentinels to to not give up this A site, although it looked like a handful were going over towards B. Now the A site's starting to get cleared out and things get a bit easier in this take as Dappers finds Crash. He takes a bit of damage on the way out, but still healthy enough to try and fight low HP as well. On food, the Rays stuck on the site, and the post-plant positions aren't the worst as that op shot from downtown. Shazam now trying to trade things back in a 1v2 once more, trying to go clutch, has to clear out the angles, but Mummy will sit him down, rights his wrongs, and Envy now guarantee themselves the Lions half of this half.
Indeed. They also put the economic reset to Sentinels, so while they are able to buy this round, their money is drained, and with only a 2-round loss bonus going into the final round of the half, they would be really slim pickings for weaponry if they take the L here, and that would give a great chance for Envy to jump up to that 9-3 lead from the attacking side of a map where, again, both these teams find most of their success defensively, so this is really great news for Envy fans out there following along. Envy are putting together a really nice attacking half.
Mummy just milliseconds away. Had he had that reaction time, spots out Sinatra as the smoke goes through, and it does force them back, knowing that 2 up towards heaven with the rifle spraying on down through the smoke. And that has been a very potent strategy for Sentinels. They found too many kills through the smoke, too many lineup kills as well. But with that, it's now slowed down again, that 5-point stance across the map. Envy trying to gain control.
I like it, though. I like Sentinels, like, because we've seen Envy time and time again cage that cross and threaten A ramps and get into A heaven position and make it really tough on Sentinels defensively. So they deny that, and then they kind of fall back to more of a default holding pattern. Wall is going to break down at middle. Fu going to use that boom bot now to start trying to clear out Rose's position, but Sinatra plays off of it perfectly for 2 kills. What a well-done round, and they're winning these exchanges in middle. They still have man advantage. Despite the fact that things have gotten dicey, they also have the spike in their possession.
That is arguably one of the worst spots to have it go down, and Crashies from downtown is only good for just about 120 damage
30 seconds
on
left.
Dapper. Now Mummy in the inverse, we've seen Shazam, the Jet for Sentinels, trying to clutch things out. I think Mummy might just try and hang on to this operator. There is really no safe way into that spike.
No, there's really not. There was like a gap inside that smoke over towards Ramen where Dapper
10
maybe
seconds
could have
left.
gotten caught out there by Crashies, but when he won that duel, it pretty much sealed this round's fate on where it was going to be headed, and that's going to be over to Sentinels. A big round to win. It makes sure that they're going to have full weaponry in the final round of the half, and it stops Envy from increasing that lead and creating too big of a gap to recover from here on Split again. So much on the line here, as this is our first spot for Masters up for grabs here for stage 1 of the Valorant Champion Tour. And while there is no elimination on the line here, it still would be nice to go ahead and seal the deal right now, not have to worry about Challengers 3 or worry about a lower bracket. And again, for Envy, it would be massive, I think, for their mental gain to finally beat Sentinels in a series, something they've yet to ever do in the history of Valorant. And I mean, at different points in time, they have looked in firm control, and they're, again, looking in really good shape here on Split Attack.
Another slower start here. This is what worked out before for Envy. And last round, unfortunately, didn't go their way, but the split's a little different. They've got FNS creeping up right behind Crashes to see if they can get anything done. And you really have to give props to Sinatra in that last round for just kind of blowing caution to the wind with that paint shell, or with that boombot rather. Flash actually not going to spot him out, but Crashies does. So no information, no blind to come through because of that box. And now Sinatra looking to go aggro on the inverse. Does he spot the player out in the smoke and get trapped up? Is he going to be taken down? Yes, he is. Crashies is able to secure the kill. Now the Seekers go through, and I think it's one of the first times we've seen it. So the information is there.
And then
the
neural
neural
theft.
theft on top of it all. They're just throwing everything at the Sentinel squad to try and grab 8 rounds. And Caboose once more has postured deep into this defender-sided spawn. And all 3 are coming through a smoke, but Shazam with an easy right click to the head will pop the grape of the Omen. They've still got 4 more to worry about, and they're down to their last 2. Food gonna pop out the showstopper, try and do just that against Shazam, who's looking to go hot in this one. Paranoia goes through. Shazam finds 1, dash into the back of the site. Food will trade it back, and here we go. A 1v3, but it's not enough manpower for Sentinels, and Envy secure 8 rounds at the half. And we are going here. Envy trying to close it out. And they've got 4 rounds padded for this one, Dust.
Yes, this is getting down to the last few deciding moments as Envy find themselves in a very comfortable position, coming up with a huge attacking half. Again, they were just so good at exploiting mid control, so good at attacking into A Heaven. Caboose, time and time again, able to get into the back lines and disrupt things. And that last round of the first half, they just used their ults to perfection and just destroyed a site and had a nice little kind of feint and a double back. And now we are going to see the pistol here in the second half. Sentinels wasting no time laying claim to an empty B site as Envy are looking to play for the retake. Wall has already been broken. Crashy's making sure that there's no mid flank, and they're about to start sliding into the DMs of Sentinels here at the B site.
And it's actually sick to deny that one, throwing the block out onto Food, making sure that
That's
that
a friend zone. Yep.
Yeah, into the friend zone of Food will go. The flank not getting too much. I thought maybe Crashies would get something done. It is 1 kill, but Sentinels, a free B site means a free pistol round 1.
Yeah, there was no one there getting any kind of attention in the inbox there. That was straight up Sentinels bulldozing into B, trying to close that gap early on here in the beginnings of this second half. And we are going to see the Stingers out here from Envy, so they're looking to contest right away. And that seems to be the trend lately. It seems like everyone's going for these Stingers by second round. They kind of realize the way the economy system works, that they can still full buy when need be if the Stingers don't work out. So that's what they're going to be going for.
Yeah, it's a Caboose this time. Going to be the on the receiving end of the paint shells, taking a bit of damage. Is able to back away. The spike down on the ground, way over towards Sewer. So just a feint out towards B from Sentinels to see what they can get done. And it looks to be just a bit of damage. Find out some of that utility as well. Slower orb into the back. The reload comes through. Sinatra trying to run him down, but Caboose is able to sneak away. Now the wall has since been broken. And Crashies goes on the offense and picks up a kill. A good one at that, as they are on the lower end of that arsenal. But the rest of the squad here, Dust, creeping on through to A.
Yeah, indeed they are, and they're trying to get the backstab here, potentially onto Finesse, who is playing over towards Rance, but he's in a good spot. It's all going to come down to timing, and while he gets the dink on the Shazam and knocks him down to 33, Shazam does find that entry to start breaking open this A site. There is still 1 defender, though, left unchecked. It's Mummy with the jet, trying to bob and weave around his smoke, but is going to get traded out by Sinatra. It's going to keep things even as the spike gets planted. Food, though, slipping into elbow, but nothing coming from it. It's being shut down by Sentinels all across the board. It's only on Caboose now.
And it's Dink City here. Everybody on Sentinels getting touched in the head by these Stingers, but that's not enough damage to sit him down. And through the smoke, Shazam will find a 3K. It started off dicey, but Sentinels reel it back in.
Yes, they do. 2 rounds now separate these 2 top squads of the North American region for that master slot that is at the end of the finish line of splits. And it seems like we are once again, like our first 2 maps that went to 13-10, in here for the long haul. No one seems to be looking to necessarily capture the game and just run away with it just yet, as we are going to see Envy fairly well ecoed here. Food does have a Bucky. There's some pistols here and there, but it is slim pickings, and one's already been found out.
Yeah, should that had been the Bucky, maybe a bit more value. Unfortunately, it's there's no calm in that chaos as Sinatra's able to net the alt orb. Also has that showstopper now available. And with that Sage wall outside of the paint shells being used and the kills coming through, you maybe think that it could just be the Sage there. It's another feint towards B for a moment. And had those kills come through, that would have been spiked down. So Envy really missing out on that opportunity. Again, it looks like another free take over towards A. Frenzy damage going down. Shazam still nice and healthy, though, able to back his teammate up. Mummy with the classic, not able to get away this time, but somehow we find ourselves even. I say somehow, but it's the power of the Bucky. It's the power of the paint shells. And now we got to see the power of Crashies as he looks to rear up on this site. And the spike yet to be planted. There it goes, and just a frenzy in hand. Should be able to pick up that Bucky. A very, very tall order from downtown. Sinatra will find the kill, and Sentinels close the gap now down to 1.
Yeah, Sentinels, again, just like Envy, can be that fiery, explosive team on this split as they have been on every other map in the pool we've witnessed. They're very good at pivoting between, heavy mid control and just doing these, burst plays. And what that also sets up for later is you kind of condition your opponent to respect the threat that those numbers pose. And that's when you can start throwing like little fakes or little feints and kind of keeping your defensive opponent guessing on where the end goal is actually going to be for your team. And then at that point, it just comes down to the trading efficiency. And right now we're seeing Sentinel start to piece together an appropriate attacking half. Again, they are very early laying claim here to A Heaven and Ramps control with that cage cross and boom bot. Crashies will spot it. Gonna try to put it slowed down with the Hawk. Indeed, he will get the flash and get some intel, but still Sentinel's laying claim to the territory.
And not a whole lot there as Dapper tries to find what could be a trap wire. Unfortunately,
Right.
just missing out on that one. So he's not just shooting at the wall randomly. And unfortunately for Envy, they don't have any ults here. They're very close to the Seekers, but they're going to have to find an orb or a kill, which is obviously incredibly difficult on this defending side, especially with the posture, the position that Sentinels have for themselves. And on the inverse, they've got the knives. They've got the showstopper. They can look to make a play, but over towards B, that lurk not going to get any value as Sick taken off the board. Sentinels usually do pretty good with their backs against the wall, though.
Yeah, Crashies wasn't able to get that Trailblazer up, though, and actually get full numbers on A side, so they're actually not quite sure how the attack this is going to be. And now it's coming in at just the right time before Envy could really get the rotations in, and they're getting the entries as well. But look at Crashies from the back of the site. Huge kills, changes everything.
Changes everything, and a bit of a hiccup as Sinatra tried to get on the site. He was body blocked by Dapper. He still got a kill with that showstopper, but it wasn't before that player on the site picked up a kill in response. So right here, just before that, FNS had actually killed Dapper. Crashies does close things out for that push onto the site, and then Food obviously with the kill with the cherry on top. But
that was just so big from Crashies because whenever Mummy gets that kill over towards B lobby onto Sage, they don't have any real info anywhere, and they were relying on Crashy's Trailblazer to kind of pick up on numbers at A, and he didn't spot anything really, except for one player, so they didn't know what was going to happen, so they couldn't really rotate, but then Crashy shut them down anyway by himself. What a play. But now Sentinel's looking to pounce once again on A site quickly. It is empty this time. It's going to be a retake play from Envy mostly, but Finesse has been caught in the process. Wall goes down on screens, and the spike will get planted.
Sinatra making sure there's no free lunch here through this Heaven entry as the Seekers go through. Fortunately, he downs his Seeker, so the one allotted to him is down and now going the other way, but Mummy answering back with knives of his own. Finds 3, now needs to find a couple more. It's down to the last 2. It's down to the last one for Zoms. All the way by his lonesome, lower HP, but they can just stick the spike. It's not planted for him, and they're going to do just that. Crashies and Mummy go huge again for Envy.
Hey, Mummy.
Yeah.
I mean, just give it up for the guy, right?
That's
what a play. Holy cow. There's no real analysis needed other than what Mummy just did. He told the whole story by himself. I don't need to do it for him. What a play. That's such a big moment too, man. Right when Sentinels were, getting a streak going, closing the gap on the scoreboard, putting the pressure on Envy, they win such a big round because look what it's done. It's put them to double digits, and it's put Sentinels on stingers only. A chance for Envy to creep closer towards map and series point. They have such a big opportunity here to do so.
As far as momentum goes, I think this is arguably one of the more momentous rounds. If you can stunt Sentinels, then you don't lose 13-10 like we saw on Icebox. So they need to continue pushing forward and stopping the plays that they're trying to make. It's just about everybody hovering over towards B this time around, so not going to be a feint, not going to be a fake or anybody trying to lurk on through. It does seem that Sentinels want to make a play here.
Yep. And
the one thing they have going for them is they have the res. So worst case scenario, they can get a man back on the board.
They can, but there's a good defense in place here from Envy. You got Food sitting at the back of B Heaven. You got 2 players on B side itself, and the 2 A defenders are back towards the back halls and can quickly rotate over to reinforce this B site. So This is a really tough spot here for Sentinels, where they are able to get both entries on the defenders. Food strikes back, but only good for one, and Sentinels somehow still find a way to overwhelm a B site that was pretty well defended.
30 seconds left.
And now running out of time, they're able to get the plant, but it's all down to the last. Mummy, no knives available, only an operator. His name here. Sick gonna try and peek on out. Sick gonna be taken down. Now tossing over by possibly a rifle there that Mummy could opt into using. Dapper gonna play back towards site. Shazam holding it down right next to this tall box. This brand new tall box as the camera will fall. We'll see what Mummy can get done. Needs to come up huge here. It looks like he's just gonna opt into saving in the 1v2, and this, again, it's given that momentum over to Sentinels, a round that they should have lost. They end up winning here, Dust.
That is very true. I mean, everything seemed to be favoring Envy there, positionally, firepower-wise. I mean, it really was just going to take a Herculean brute force maneuver from Sentinels to really find a way to break past it all, and indeed they were up to doing just that. They now put it to 8, couple of rounds away from Envy. Money situation starts to kind of even out. Both teams find themselves in very similar situations in that regard. No one has like a big loss bonus built up. Reset is potentially here for the loser. So this is a big round. This is Envy's moment to hold Sentinels off. This is Sentinels' chance to put themselves in tie position. Such a big one right here, Tanner.
Need to be able to pick this one up. Again, it was Envy who reached 10 rounds first on Icebox, and Sentinels just continued to win all the way on out to take the series 13-10. That is why it is so important to win those rounds that are just going to generate so much momentum. And we'll see what Sentinels can get done with it. They hang on to the res. They have the From the Shadows available. Now, should a push like that happen again, Showstopper is available. We'll see what Food can get done. And if Finesse can find himself another kill on another flank or another lurk, you have the neural theft.
Yeah.
Is that Trapwire going to be taken down? So a bit of information towards me.
It's kind of a similar story to Envy's attacking side, right? Like, Sentinels are very effective in varying up their opening formations and varying up the speed at which they want to get mid-control and how they want to finalize. And those Sage walls that really buy you a lot of options to shut down players from being able to defend lanes correctly, as they are going to once again start hammering away. Now, Crashies does have B main control, at least for now, with the help of his Omen, but now we see the exchanges break out, and it's favoring Envy. They maintain B lobby control. They have so many angles to come back into this B site, and they're a man up, and it's only going to get better with that kill from Mummy.
And Mummy, with those tight angles, he found one trying to sneak on through back towards defender spawn, towards out of heaven, and then does it again here, peeking from the defender spawn. Shazam and Dapper trade him back, though. The odds have been even, and it's all up to Shazam. 100 HP to his name, finds the first kill on the low HP Food, and the spike is planted. So Crashies has to make a play, and he does just that. They will steal the momentum back. They will net themselves an op, and I think Envy fans can take a deep breath now.
Only for just a moment, though, Tanner. The pressure's right back on in just a few seconds, but they've done well here on the Envy side of things. I think the big difference maker there is Envy being able to maintain B lobby control for themselves. That way, if the site folds, they already have a flanking option. It's already built for them. They don't have to worry about laying claim to it slowly and having to clear out corners. No, they have a launching point right off the rip on top of their rotations coming through back halls and B heaven. And Crashies actually winds up multi-fragging out to not only ensure retake routes for Envy, but also to ensure the man advantage. And then Mummy finds a quick op pick as well, and at that point, I mean, there's almost no way for Envy to fail unless they just have a huge hiccup. So this is a big one from Envy, and now Mummy looking to wreak havoc over on the A ramps. Unfortunately, only good for an even exchange. That's going to favor Sentinels a slight bit here as Dapper continues to put that pressure solo at A side. And a nice job by Envy to once again push off B lobby.
And the neural theft getting a bit of information. You saw Sick hanging onto that stinger over towards B. Dapper Vandal in hand here, so that Arsenal kind of bouncing around. There is an operator down as well. That was the pickup there in taking down Mummy. Boost Goes towards the back inside elbow, and he gets saved food to keep him alive as Shazam was storming onto the site. What a heads-up play there.
That is so big. It allows him to complete the ult and stay and not have to cancel so he can be there as a reinforcement to hold this site. That is so massive that he's been able to have that happen for him. And now Sentinels are in a world of trouble. They only had 2 members left. Dapper's trying to backstab. He's been busted as well. And now it's all left to one man. It's Zoms, and he has been having a really rough game. And so to ask him to do this now would just take a crazy effort. With only Stinger in hand, he does get his first man, though.
There's just so much to worry about here. Food just gonna creep on out from underneath heaven, secure the kill, and bring Envy to map point. And Dust, what are Sentinels going to be able to do?
This is so
in shambles.
huge.
Yeah.
It was so risky to finish that ult because that could have been a potential lineup spray down. And so for his teammate to bail him out and let him stick it was so big for Envy. And look at this. Envy, 1 round away from tasting victory, 1 round away from conquering Sentinels for the first time. And what a better moment to do it than for a master slot here in stage 1 of the VCT. It's right there for the taking.
And Crashies finds the first kill onto Sinatra, a huge name to have off the board. And Sick is so far away from that resurrection. That wall is going to net the orb. And I believe the knives there coming out for Shazam. So everything going to be used from Sentinels to try and secure this round.
Yeah, but already being a step behind so quickly really limits their options. They have to just kind of play together here. Food still watching for the B having control. Still 2 defenders on the side itself. Some jiggle peeking here. Head been spotted. Food will dump the paint shells. Crashies will peek off of it. So male access is all that will be gained there. No B having control yet from Sentinels. They're trying to split. They're dashing in though. And Shazam lights up the kill feed. That is the big play they needed to get back in the round.
And now we are even across the board. The health bars, sure they hurt. But Shazam continues to move forward. The momentum gained here for Sentinels as the knives are still available. A 3v2 as Envy try to close it out. A 3v1 and Sentinels will live to fight another day off the back end of a 4K from Shazam.
The absolute hero that Shazam is there for Sentinels cannot be understated. Just dashing in, catching a timing on Caboose, the quick adjustment to Crashies. It was a masterclass jet utilization there from Shazam in a round that they absolutely required to stay alive and keep that hope at pushing overtime alive. It seems like extra rounds would be fitting for this series, to be quite honest with you. These games have been so close, so up in the air at times, so exciting. I'm ready to see these 2 teams continue to duke it out. I'm on board.
I could not agree more. And we're seeing Sentinels come out early in this one, find the damage. It is healed up, but now no armor on this raise for Food. And again, everything matters. But even in that last round, it was the heroics for Sentinels that came out on top, and they just need to do it a few more times. Unfortunately, they don't have a whole lot. Just the showstopper as they continue this slow push up to try and gain control anywhere on this map.
Yeah, this is big from Sentinels. They're starting to put that pressure on middle. They're starting to threaten that B heaven control again. They've been very successful once they've taken the space of knocking Envy back and being able to overwhelm the site. And it's going to happen again, but the flash comes in. Food builds off of it, gets his kill, puts the paint shells on Male, and continues to push Sentinels back and slow down this ability for them to try to steamroll through. This is big for Envy. Food follows up with the showstopper. It doesn't land a kill, but look at how much clock he is taking away from his opponent.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds left. You hear the announcer. You know the Sentinels are hearing it as well. Sinatra looks to do some heroics of his own. Crashy still in the off angle. He's going to be taken down, but a couple of kills back and forth. Now Zoms trying to find the low HP Food. The spike is on the floor. Sentinels are running out of time. They're finding the kills, but they need to find the plant. Now in a 2v3, Dapper doing his darndest to keep Zoms alive, but it's not enough. The drop down from heaven, the tag as Dapper tries to dance away, but the kill comes through. Envy will put a stamp in it. They will find their first win over Sentinels in a series, and they will be the first of 4 to qualify for Masters.
Indeed, they will, Tanner. You've really said that story perfectly. There's not much detail I can add, but all I can do is just reinforce how big of a moment this really is for Envy as a team. This Envy squad has often been regarded as one of those top 5 teams in the region. They have always been in the conversation for the elite class of North America. They got their top 4 at First Strike. They were able to get a 2nd place finish at Pop Flash. They were able, to always, at least make the playoffs. Like, they were hardly ever a team to fall out in a group stage. Really, the only